Alrighty, so I would like to call this meeting to order. It's 7 p.m. on Monday, July 8th, and this is the Select Board meeting. So the first thing we do is the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'd like to join me and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If anybody wants to sing the Star Spangled Banner, now is your chance. Anybody? No?
I think Kristen's going to do that.
Oh, you don't want that.
Yeah, we don't.
You guys are there'd be a recall. Let's put it that way. All right, so let's do our announcements, and then we'll get right into the agenda. The Central Massachusetts Mosquito Council Project has tentatively scheduled the following dates for mosquito spraying in Boxborough. They'll be in town July 9th, the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th. This schedule is subject to change depending on weather and mosquito populations. Now, additional information, sorry, I'm just turning my phone off, sorry. Additional information can be found at www.cmmcp.org. So again, www.cmmcp.org, and our spraying is July 9th, 16th, 23rd, and the 30th. Rajan, is this on the website too? Because that way people can find it there too.
Yeah, it should be under latest news.
Under latest news? Awesome. Come see Boxborough's Treasures on Sunday, July 14th. The Boxborough Museum, located at 575 Middle Road, so that's the brick building at the top of the hill on Middle Road, will be open from 2 p.m. to 4. Come see Boxborough's historic treasures, including an 1850s scale, which is sensitive enough to weigh a penny and strong enough to calibrate a 50-pound weight, the new hearse, built in 1881, and the old hearse. And we're not going to tell you how old the old hearse is. You have to go and see for yourself. Admission is free and all are welcome. For more information, or if you wish to arrange a private tour for a small group or go over at a different time, please call John Fallon at 978-264-0069. Kim D., the Council on Aging Coordinator, would like seniors 60 and over to know the Grab and Go Ice Cream Truck event this Wednesday, July 10th from 1 to 1:45 p.m. Still has a few spots available.
Yeah.
All right, I want to know what kind of ice cream.
I don't care.
Okay, I'm just curious. This event will be held at the fire station parking lot. Please call the Council on Aging office at 978-264-1717 or 978-264-1730 to be put on the event list and receive a pickup time. This event is sponsored by the Boxborough Fire Station and the Fire Union. The library held its annual Touch a Truck event on Saturday, June 29th with the support of the Boxborough Fire, Police, and DPW. The first hour, 3:30 to 4:30, was the sensory-friendly hour, and the second hour was for lights and sirens. That's smart. About 350 to 400 people attended the event. The biggest crowd pleaser was the DPW's excavator. Maybe there'll be a contest next year. Usually it's the fire trucks. The library is inviting our young patrons to collaboratively build a cardboard castle using empty cereal boxes and cardboard tubes in the meeting room from July 2nd to 16th, July 2nd to July 16th, to celebrate our summer reading theme of Renew, Reread, Return. I like that. Together, let's create a fort-sized castle from our recycled materials. You can track the progress of the castle on the Facebook account that's at BoxLib. So at BOXLIB. And that's it. Does anybody else have any other?
I do.
Bring it on.
Yep, just real quick. I mentioned last week that the new stickers are required for access to the transfer station. That's out of July 1st. The DPW is going to be having an employee at the gate just making sure everybody's got a sticker for access to the transfer station, and a transfer sticker is required for all residents to access the transfer station.
So no grace period this year?
Maybe.
I'm just asking. Yeah. Well, no, I'm just going to say true confession. At 11:55 on Saturday, I bought my transfer station stickers, so I had a receipt to send my nephew with my trash because he was afraid to go. He's like, they're not going to let me in. I'm like,
no, they'll let you
tell them who you are.
No, if you got the receipt, yeah, no, they'll let you in.
He had the receipt. It was all good. All right.
And then the only other
because I did. I told him there's a grace period. There's no grace period.
I know. And then the only other announcement I have, Maria, there are 3 children going to Minuteman Tech. I have confirmed that on Friday. One is my neighbor, and there's one on Hill Road, and there's another one on Joyce Lane as well. So there are 3 freshmen going to Minuteman Tech.
Oh Lordy, 3 freshmen?
Freshmen.
Oh Lord, okay. Well, we were gonna talk,
5 students total.
I'm sorry?
There'll be 5 students total because we have, so we'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
Tony's behind me, he's the new chair, effective July
Okay,
1st.
so there are,
But we'll have to talk about that tomorrow night.
yep, so there are three going to Minuteman as freshmen. They have confirmation letters, and that they are going to Minuteman as freshmen. The only thing I did also confirm is the bus from Minuteman will not pick them up in Boxborough. They have to go to West Acton. And I guess there's a stop in West Acton Center where these 3 students will get the bus to bring them to Minuteman Tech.
So we'll talk about it, and then we need to talk to Rachel. We need confirmation from the school, because there wasn't even kids on waiting lists when we talked to them at budget time, right? We had 2 kids going, no kids on the waiting list, so.
microphone, I'm just gonna tell you.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Pass the mic, we'll just pass the mic.
So sweet, but
Yeah,
I
so
cannot hear.
if we could find out from Minutemen, you know, what the notification process is, it might be that we just have to do a budget transfer or, you know, a special town meeting.
Because my neighbor,
We'll figure it out.
because my neighbor actually brought the letter accepting their son to the party we had on 4th of July. They said, here's the letter from
Wow.
Minuteman Tech.
Well, I'm happy for the kids, and we'll figure it out, because that's all we can do.
Yep.
We'll touch base with the school.
I think
before
we need
do
to touch
anything.
base with the school, and then with the transportation as well, because we have to understand if it's 5 kids total, and if the transportation's picking up in Acton, do we need to pay an additional tens of thousands of dollars for transportation?
Yeah, if they're not gonna come to Boxborough, we should be able to negotiate that, I would think.
And in case you guys didn't hear me off mic, Tony's the new chair,
Just
effective
pass
July
that mic
1st.
right back then.
Okay, Tony, stop
Lucky you,
talking.
Tony.
And if you want to pass that microphone
Well,
down
if
to
this isn't the
Hanwha,
perfect segue
She's
to
next.
our new finance director,
Exactly.
Hanwha Lee. You don't have to stand. You can if you want, but we're pretty laid back.
I'll sit.
So welcome. So I was privileged enough to be on the interview committee, so I've actually already met her. I'm super excited that she took our offer and that she's here. Would you like to actually, Mike, would you like to introduce her?
I'd like to give a quick introduction
Yeah.
and then have her answer any questions you might have. So Hanwha comes to us with her last 12 years' experience as an accountant and finance director have been in a couple of school districts, and we're very excited to have her join us, our team here in Boxborough. This is week 2 for her, and she has hit the ground running. She is all over town hall. She's been around to multiple departments around town, meeting with the department heads, finding out what their budget concerns are, what their payroll concerns are, things like that. Tomorrow night, Hanwha and I will be going to the finance committee meeting. She would like to meet with FinCom. So we're really excited to have her here. She made it through our 3-stage interview process and came out on top, and we're very pleased to welcome her here. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, so, all right, so we've all met you and enjoyed your company. What would you like the select board to know about you? Introduce yourself.
Okay.
You can do this.
But thank you for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate it and very excited to be part of the community and to learn more about it. I just wish if I could be patient with me as I'm trying to learn the role here.
I think we can be patient. What do you guys think?
I think so. We'll give her a week.
About 10
And it's
days.
already gone.
10 days.
I came back.
10 work days. How about that? 10 days.
So a little bit of process, what we're doing is Kelly, our accountant who's been with us the last couple of years, is still with us through the end of her contract through the summer, and she is closing out FY24. And we're taking this opportunity this summer to bring Hanwha up to speed with municipal processes. As I mentioned, most of her accounting experience has been in the school side, which is very similar, but it's not the same. But we did reach out through a contact of Rajan's, who is the finance director over in Harvard, who made this same transition that Hanwha is making right now, who came from school district finance director experience, So we've actually made an arrangement for Hung Hwa to be mentored by Jared, who's over in Harvard, and they're already collaborating, finding out what are the similarities, what are the differences, and what does she need to do to get up to speed to have us running on all cylinders, you know, by the time we get to the end of the summer and budget season. And we're very confident in closing out this past year and moving into, you know, the new year that we're already in, and budget season coming up in the fall. And as I mentioned, Hung Hwa is excited to come out and also visit your meeting, Tony, tomorrow night.
Awesome.
Welcome. Happy to have you.
Yeah.
Great. All right, moving on to public input. Now, there's quite a few people here on the Zoom, and Wes, hope all is well at your house. Do we need to do a roll call vote or anything because we're hybrid? Do we have to? I'm just making sure we haven't done anything wrong.
When we get
Because
to,
we're hybrid.
Yeah,
so
when we
any
get to-
vote
I
is
think you
roll
have to
call.
do a
Correct.
present call.
Okay, gotcha.
You
What's
have to
that?
roll call present. I said you have to do a roll call for
That's what I thought, that we
present.
need to do a roll
Yeah.
call present. All righty, all right, well, let's just say, all present, we're gonna do a roll call vote. Wes?
Present.
Bob?
Stemple present.
Priya?
Sundaram, aye, present.
Dave?
McKenna pen.
And Hilberg present, we are all present, awesome. All right, now regarding public input, I think a lot of people are here to talk about the fire station charter and what's gonna happen with that. So if that's what you wanna talk about, hold it till we get there. But if there's anything else you'd like to bring to the board's attention, you know, let us know right now. Anyone in the audience or anyone on Zoom? I'm giving people time to hit their hands.
No hands
All
so
good?
far.
No hands. Alrighty, so then we're gonna just keep moving right along. Okay, first new business is the Sustainability Committee Charter Revision. We've been working on this for a couple of months. Mike, do you wanna walk us through the changes and where we are now?
I think
Or is
Dave
Dave,
might be
sorry.
better positioned to walk you through
Kate
those.
Davies, I think, is there.
Oh, wait, oh, this is for sustainability.
Yep.
Yeah, Kate
We have
was on.
somebody from sustainability on the,
Kate was on?
Kate.
Kate, right there.
Hey,
Okay,
Kate's
hi.
here.
You're here,
All right,
sorry,
Kate, you're up.
All right, this is
Hi.
yours.
Can you guys hear me okay? Just
We
making
can,
sure.
yep.
Yeah.
Great. So the committee did not make a lot of changes from the last time that you guys saw this draft. There have just been sort of slight tweaks here and there. Essentially, what we're trying to do with the charter is just update, make sure that the what's in our sustainability policy that you guys adopted in April is in alignment with what's also in the charter. So there was a little bit of language adjustment to make sure that those two things lined up, which is most of what the language at the top here of the document, what the changes were. And then there were some tweaks to the specifics around the committee organization. So we wanted to make sure that everybody who's been participating in the sustainability committee actively for quite some time has a voting role, and so we've expanded the number from I think there were 8 members. We've expanded that to 10, and we had some discussion last time about there not being a range, so we have set the number to 10.
Okay.
We've also clarified the language around the role of our representative from LELD, and it was a little confusing before, and we have clarified that that is a non-voting sort of participant in the committee. And then we've also clarified that we would like one of our 10 members, if possible, to be a student representative, and that they would be a voting member. So we do have a student who would fill that role. So that is something that we wanted to make sure that we had all tied that all up in the charter as well. And then finally, we have also added the language saying that we could have a co-chair role. It doesn't have to be just a chair for the Sustainability Committee.
Okay, sounds
Kate.
good. Go ahead, Priya. Sorry.
Kate, I just have one question about your quorum. Like, I mean, is that,
Me too.
yeah, is that okay how you guys have it, like, in the charter currently? It says a quorum of the committee shall be a majority of the members. It doesn't state, like, usually it's, for other committees, it's like the
Half
half
plus
plus one.
Yeah.
Do you guys wanna do that, so that way you don't end up with, it's more clear?
It's kinda,
We followed some language that was given to us, I think maybe forwarded to us, I think maybe by Kelly. It came to me from Francie, so I'm not 100% sure where it originated from, but the language there is to enable us so that if for some reason we have a vacant slot, we don't have to maintain a really high number of quorum. We can basically just have whatever the majority of serving numbers is the number that we'll use
Okay.
for our quorum.
I'm gonna make a suggestion that you change it to a quorum shall consist of half the appointed members plus one. And that's, it's just, because majority, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
quorum is defined by the state. I don't think we need to be redundant in that.
That was what we followed the language that was sent to us from a document that originates from the state. So that is the language that I have incorporated here.
Okay.
Well, what I'm saying is I don't even think we need to define what a quorum is since it's superseded by the state.
I understand, but I want their charter to be clear, Wes, and majority is a little fuzzy, so that's why I prefer the language half the appointed members plus one. I just feel like it's more clear.
Okay.
But that, I'm not gonna die on that sword. I mean, Priya and I both had the same concern.
Okay, so half the serving members plus one.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
let me rephrase. I guess what I was questioning is do we even need to include this since it is superseded by the state? That was more of what I was trying to
We
say,
have to say
not
what
that
quorum
we
is.
don't need to change it.
So we take the whole thing out is what he's asking.
Most of the other charters seem to have.
I would say, I don't know
Yeah,
if Kirby
sorry,
can hear you.
like, yeah, I think most of the
No,
other
I hear you.
charters seem to have that, right, Wes, so.
I mean, but it's like a legacy relic, right? So I guess I'm just questioning, and it doesn't need to be necessarily for this charter, but it's a lot of verbiage that is not necessary because we don't control that from an open meeting law perspective.
I'd rather leave it. I'd like to leave it the way you're suggesting, but
Yeah.
I mean, I can go either way.
Dave, do you have an opinion?
I do feel bad for Kate because she's been back and forth on this. So I'll go along. I mean, if Kate's okay with half of the appointed members plus one, then that's fine with me.
Yeah, because I don't think you'd have to go back to your
Yeah.
board for this. I mean, it would just be as amended.
Yeah.
As amended, we
Yep.
could probably still approve it.
And then we
yeah.
could approve it and be done, because we have worked
Yep.
on this for a really long time. I don't
Yeah.
disagree.
So you're good with that, Kate?
Yeah, I'm good with that. So I'm just want to make sure that I've got it. A quorum is half the serving members plus one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's fine. I'm sure that will be fine.
And Kate, I just have one more question. The paragraph below that, it starts off, all meetings of the committee or any subcommittee. Do you think you're gonna be needing a subcommittee? Because that gets messy, it really does.
Yeah, this is legacy language that I just didn't bother to delete. I don't think anyone will be upset if you want to make changes to that section either.
So we would just strike that as it is, all meetings of the committee established by the committee.
Yep,
Okay, fine.
that
I agree with that.
sounds great. Let's strike that.
So what'd you just say? You're gonna strike or any subcommittee?
Yes.
All
Yep.
right. Well, that was redundant, so that's, all right, we got some redundancy out, okay. All right, any other comments?
I think Bob Stemple's name should be added
Oh,
to the
yes.
signature at the bottom.
Yeah, at the bottom, yeah.
So Kate, I always have a question for you. But one of the things I noticed was that the kind of the reuse or materials or whatever has been struck from it. Sustainability committee has sort of fine-tuned its its focus. So what happens? I mean, who in the town is taking that baton and running with it? You know, like I mean, there was discussion, for example, about having a shed at the transfer station for people to drop stuff off, so it could be brought to, it could be reused or brought to household goods or something. You know, there's just that kind of the reuse of materials and things. If sustainability doesn't do it, who does it?
I would say, only because back in my day, when I was a select board before, we talked about this and decided not to do it for liability reasons, but almost every town around us does it. So I think I would push that back to Mike to talk to Ed and DPW. If it's gonna be at the DPW, it makes sense that they would have some input. Mike would look into any liability on our part, and we go from there. I would love to have a swap area at the transfer station. I mean, we already kind of have a de facto one, let's be honest.
So,
Sure.
so Kate and Francie, as well as another woman, person on the committee there, Fran, and Ed and I are all working together on that exact thing.
There you go, they're ahead of
Awesome.
us. Nice.
Okay, but that's an example of sort of a policy kind of thing. You know, like there's a push for, well, we want to have, and I know it's coming out of some folks on the planning board, we want to have these kinds of, you know, compostable items being, you know, like, so.
The DPW
Does
did that too.
anybody own that anymore, or is that just, we just, you know?
All of that
I'm
belongs
just
to
bringing that
DPW. So again, back in the day, we gave out composters at cost. We gave them away free one year, and then we charged them. I mean, again, that all goes back to, I would say, sustainability. We used to have a recycling committee. That was the committee that I was on then, a million years ago. So I would argue sustainability committee would pick all of that up and work with Mike and Ed.
But what I'm saying is, sustainability took that out of, if you look at that, they took that out of their charter.
That doesn't mean they
So
couldn't still do
we
it.
haven't taken it out. What we've tried to do is make sure that what's in the charter is expansive enough that it's encompassing that and all the other kinds
Oh.
of work. Because sustainability
Okay.
is such a holistic topic these days, and people think about it in terms of kind of all the different things you're mentioning. So it might be to do with waste management, but that also connects to our use of energy, and that also connects to what we do about our bus system, and right, all of these things are kind of interconnected in terms of solutions these days. So the sustainability committee was just trying to kind of keep with the times. Instead of breaking things up and siloing them in our charter, we wanted to just kind of have a more holistic approach to what we're doing, and so that's sort of the language that we've used. But all of the projects you've mentioned are things that we might work on in partnership with the town.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, I didn't
I didn't understand your
that
question,
from,
sorry.
From reading that, but that's great. Thank you. That was my only question.
All right, any other comments from the public or from the board? All righty, then I move to approve the Sustainability Committee Charter revisions as amended.
Second.
Any further discussion? And we'll do a roll call vote. Wes?
Folks, aye.
Bob?
Stemple, aye.
Priya?
Sundaram, aye.
Dave?
Karen and I.
And Hilberg, aye. Awesome, all right, nice work.
Thank you,
Sustainability
Kate.
Committee. I know you worked really hard on that.
Thanks for your
We did it.
perseverance,
Yay.
Kate.
Okay, now we are moving on to the reason I think almost everybody is here. So let me just set the stage. The select board is over the moon that, you know, more than 20 people have raised their hands to serve in this committee, and we know that people are really, really interested in what?
Are we skipping over the town meeting schedule?
Oh, I skipped over that. Thank you. All right, let's set the town meeting schedule. Back it up. Back it up.
So,
I'm in denial.
so for this year, I think we want to think flexibly as we think about the fire station and upcoming town meeting. So we, over a year ago, we took a vote at annual town meeting, or you all did, to do a fall town meeting, specifically focusing on, but not only focused on, planning and zoning articles. I've talked with our Director of Land Use and Permitting, Alec, and asked him about the fall. If we don't do a November town meeting, are we gonna miss anything big as far as planning and zoning? And he said, not as he sees right now. The reason I mention that is because we're about to start embarking on the fire station project. And it might be worthwhile considering having a winter town meeting instead of November if we don't cover a lot of ground between, say, August and October, November. With that in mind, you might want to consider picking a couple of dates. I would pick one in November, that's after the presidential elections, but possibly before Thanksgiving. And a date that I had in mind was maybe November 18th, that's a Monday. Alternatively, you could go into early December. But then I would also think about picking dates that are in possibly late January or sometime in February. And I think that gives the new Fire Station Building Committee and the OPM and others a chance to work on something, bringing something substantial back to town meeting. And that's why I'm thinking maybe January or February might be a good time frame to have something, because I think it's unreasonable to think that they can come back with a lot of substance for the town to vote on by November. So dates that I thought you might consider, but you know, everything's on the table. I mentioned November 18th. For a date in January 27th is a Monday, and two dates in February that are Mondays that avoid holidays to the best of my knowledge are February 10th and February 24th.
Does anyone know when February vacation is next year?
It's between those. I think it's the week of February 17th.
16, 17.
So it
Usually
avoids
it's-
both
yeah,
of
it's the
those.
third
Okay.
week.
So those are some dates to consider. There's a couple of reasons to do that. One, for the town's planning, so that you as a board can plan, the finance committee can, do their planning, as well as other boards, committees, and the townspeople on when to do these special town meetings. The other is that the school is starting to set its schedule for next year, and they communicated with Kelly and asked, when we expect to have town meeting, because they'd like to get our date in there so that then they can build around it. That's why I would suggest, even if you're thinking winter, to still hold a November date until such time as you're ready to cancel it. Or if we go with November, then maybe cancel a later January or February date, just to hold some things on the calendar so that we have a place to meet, and then cancel whatever we don't need, if that makes sense.
So since FinCom's in the house, if we needed to do, Tony, you were, if we needed to amend budgets, and actually Hung-Wah, great to have you here too. If we needed, to me, that's, if planning doesn't have anything in the works already, it's highly likely they'll have something ready in time for the warrant to be mailed out and all that good stuff. So now I'm thinking financially. Is there any reason we would need to do anything in November that couldn't wait till January? I hear what you're saying, hold on to it, but I can't fathom what, if we have an emergency, that's a little different, but thoughts?
I agree.
I kind of agree. My only my additional thought would be, why don't we just put a date out there and hold it? We can always cancel it later on, saying we don't need a November meeting, and we'll have the meeting in January. I just don't want to tie us to the January meeting if something comes up in November. That's my thoughts.
Can we not add?
Isn't it easier to cancel a meeting?
It's easier to cancel.
Cancel.
And the other thing is, while Alex says there's nothing significant that he knows of right now that we'll need to talk about in November, that doesn't mean through the end of the rest of the summer or early fall that something might not come up that may need to be addressed at a fall town meeting. If we get to September, October, we don't, then we just let the school know we don't need that November date. That was my thinking anyways.
Okay, no, that's fine with me, if the school doesn't mind.
I think it should be earlier than the 18th if it's November. I think it's still close to
November.
Yep.
the
So
November,
what we would
like
want
Oh,
to
the
do
problem is
then,
the election, Becky Harris,
Yeah,
we
that
could
is
do
the
the
first
next
Tuesday,
right?
right?
So we could do the next week, but
Yeah.
just remember that the Monday is Veterans Day, but we could go on the Tuesday, November 12th.
12th, yeah,
We
I
could do
think-
that as well.
Yeah, I think that might be a better date.
Yeah, as long as we avoid that first week of November where we're
As long
dealing
as
with
it's not too
elections.
close to, because we want to have people's interest too, so as it gets closer to Thanksgiving, people probably get
oh
more
gosh, yeah, I'll be
focused on.
cleaning my house, I will be very uninterested in the 18th.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we wanted, Wes, what do you think?
Right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I think that's fine.
So
Go ahead, Wes.
November 12th, and then
No,
we'll,
Wes
and then,
says,
No, not the
January
12th. I will
27th?
not be there.
Wait, Wes, sorry, didn't hear you.
yeah.
I said I will not be there on the 12th.
Kristen?
okay, you're traveling or whatnot on the 12th, okay. All right.
I thought you said the 18th. So,
Well, we originally said the 18th, and we thought that was too close to Thanksgiving. So then we were throwing out the 12th because it gives more time for that one reason for people who might be traveling the week of the 18th.
Yeah.
Does that work for you, Wes? The 12th?
No, he's traveling. So the only way we'll have a meeting in November is if something comes up that absolutely must be addressed in November. Otherwise, the intent is to, it's a placeholder, Wes. It's not that we're planning for anything specific right then.
So, you think
Okay.
the 18th is too close to Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving's the 28th.
It's 10 days before.
Yeah. You think that's too close?
I want to make sure that like a lot of people will, if we have something, right? Like we have more people that would show up.
but isn't the 11th Veterans Day?
It-
So like people are traveling for Veterans Day, because that's a long weekend.
Usually, I think it's more not too much because school's not out for long, right? Like for Veterans Day, like I
Well, that's
think
just like a
people will
3-day
be back
weekend.
for going to go back to school. No, it's not that I'm saying that like the 18th people are going to be away, but it's more so like I don't know if people will be busy planning for Thanksgiving and might not be.
With Wes traveling, I mean, I think, in knowing, I think I'd rather the 18th.
Okay.
I mean, and the other piece is I'm a little nervous about doing it on a Tuesday. People are used to meetings on Mondays, so that makes me nervous, is having on Tuesday instead of a Monday.
Okay.
So you want to leave it on the 18th? Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah.
18 and 27.
18th, all right,
No,
so,
no, for the winter, one thing to consider is that the first Saturday in January is Budget Saturday. The first Saturday in February is Capital Saturday. February might be a little better because we're past Capital Saturday, which is kind of a big event here. But we could make the 27th of January work as well. But it is just a few days before Capital Saturday.
well, don't offer it to us then.
Well, I wanted to give you
February 10th,
alternatives.
February 10th, fine, February 10th.
Sounds good. So we'll communicate that with the school, get that in our rough calendars and make plans for that.
Everybody okay with that?
Sure.
It's so funny, I actually wrote down budget and capital Saturdays, and I made a face. I was like, oh, it's gonna be a hell of a week. Okay, perfect. All right, so, I move to set special town meeting dates, to November 18th, 2024, and February 10th, 2025. My goodness. Is there a second? Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Wes?
Folks, I.
Bob?
Simple, I.
Priya?
Sundaram, aye.
Dave?
McKinnon, aye.
Hilberg, aye. Okay, back to the fire building committee charter. All right, so my suspicion is that pretty much everybody here is to talk about that, and this is how I'd like to set it up. I know we have rules for how long you can speak and all that, but people have a lot of good ideas, they have a lot of input, so I would like to have a conversation as long as we can. Mike will kind of walk us through the charter. The board will have an opportunity to ask questions and give opinions, that kind of a thing. Then we're going to open it up to the floor, and we'll bounce back and forth between Zoom and people that are here in person. I'm going to ask everybody, I'm not going to limit the conversation, but I am going to ask people to, if you're repeating something somebody already said and you want everyone to know you agree, just say, I agree with whomever about whatever, but don't feel you have to reiterate everything. Let's be mindful, let's be respectful. I'm hoping that I don't have to enact our typical rules, which would give you 2 minutes. How many minutes would you ordinarily get? 3 minutes? I don't remember anymore.
3 minutes for public input.
Well, okay. Well, regardless, I'd like to be able to have a conversation, because I mean, I love the fact that we have so many people that are interested, raise their hands, and that want to be part of putting this charter together. So, any questions about the process? Seeing none? All right, take it away, Mike.
Okay, so This, putting together this draft charter was a challenge. One, just isolating time where I could be uninterrupted and violate our own open door guide or policy or whatever you got, and actually focus on this. But mostly it was a challenge because there are so many good and diverse thoughts out there in the community, but also amongst board members. So I tried to capture the essence of what I think is a good charter, but also incorporate some of the good ideas that I'd heard. Understanding that this is just a very malleable draft, and that you as a board will take other thoughts into consideration, and then we'll take it back with any changes and come back to you with something more solid. But let me just run through some of the thinking that went into this. One, I wanted to let people who were going to be reading this prior to the appointment of the committee, which will be a week from tonight, understand what the expectations are of committee members. And so I put in there what I think will happen is 2 meetings a month of 2 to 3 hours each time, plus some preparation time, plus something that's going to be very important for this committee is going to be public engagement. And I think that's going to be a total of about 8 to 10 hours a month for the next 3+ years for this upcoming committee. I know that the committee may be smaller than this or larger than this, but the words that I've heard the board talk about in previous meetings is a 5 to 7 member board. So that's what I put in here, that it could be a 5 or 7 member, and that'll be decided this evening.
Point of order, could I interrupt you?
Yes.
Could we post that up on the
It's
on the
in,
screen?
oh,
I mean, as you're talking through it, I mean, I don't know if everybody has access to this or.
it's in the,
You're just, I
yeah,
mean,
so
you're talking to it, but
John will
my-
put it in there from the packet.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah,
Yeah, good idea. So that was the first thing, was to let folks who are applying to this know what the expectation is. And I will say that we had 24 applicants for this volunteer committee. On Friday, I emailed each of the 24 applicants to let them know these are the expectations. The other expectations that I think the board is looking for are open-minded individuals who are team-oriented and that will be representative of the community. I think the board will also be looking for a committee that is diverse in perspectives, that will represent those diverse perspectives throughout the life cycle of this project. The other considerations that I think the board may be considering, but are not requirements, are folks who either have backgrounds or are working in careers that are technically oriented, such as architecture, engineering, contract specifications, construction project management, planning, finance, or other relevant technical experience. Again, I thought those are not requirements, but are certainly good to have, especially where this group will be working with, a couple times a month with an owner's project manager, someone who's very technically oriented, who will be using technical phrases in the design and construction fields. And I think that folks, this committee as a whole, should be able to at least understand those. Does that mean everyone on the committee needs to be an engineer or needs to be technically oriented? I don't think so, but I think that the board itself ought to be able to at least converse in that sort of language to be able to work alongside the OPM. Members, as I mentioned, I think in a prior meeting, I heard you talking about possibly 5 up to 7 members. Again, that could be less, could be more than that. In addition to those voting members that you've discussed, you'll also have some people that will be helping the committee move along, such as the town administrator and the fire chief, possibly the finance director on an as-needed basis, and others as the select board sees fit to assign on there as non-voting members. In the draft charter, I had 2 other positions that I think we want to back away from. and that is the town planner or the land use director and the building commissioner. And I think it's important that this committee be able to liaise with those two positions, but not necessarily even have them as non-voting members, because they are going to be making enforcement type of decisions or acting on permits that come before this. So I think it's better that they not be assigned.
So is that a conflict of interest? If they're on the committee and then they're
I think
issuing
it could.
permits?
It could
be
present.
over perception?
Yeah, it could present a conflict of interest. It's better that they stick with their, in their professional role, and then either through myself or the fire chief or the OPM, that we approach the planner and the building commissioner in that regard, or through the boards, through the planning board, or through the fire station building committee. So I think we want to take those two positions out of the draft charter that I sent you. The other thing that I want to change from the draft that I sent you is I put a couple of financial things in the next thing, which is in the charge. And that would be that the fire station building committee would be voting on expenditures or invoices and on change orders. I think it's better to take those out of this charter and let the charter stand as you vote it throughout the life of this project, and then do separate financial policies that the fire station building committee goes back and works on in the next several weeks to a month while they stand up as a committee, and then bring those financial policies back to you as a select board, present them to you, and have you vote on them. I would expect that included in those financial policies will be things like they will vote on all invoices. And in my draft, I had put invoices over a certain dollar amount. I think it needs to be all invoices. And then change orders, anything over a certain dollar amount. But I think you're probably best to leave that for the fire station building committee to discuss and decide amongst themselves, come back to you with a draft policy, separate from this charter. The other thing that I think you want this committee to be an independently operating, thinking board, knowing that they're working under the authority of the select board, but they need to be able to go and work autonomously and come back to you only as needed, not come back to you with, for every decision. And so I think they also need to have a chance to get together, meet, and decide how, where, and when they're going to meet. Because we don't know what these individual schedules are. The other thing that we don't know is we don't know who the OPM or owner's project manager is and what their schedule is going to be. We don't know, is it going to be best for the OPM to meet virtually or to come in person? So I think we want the fire station building committee to go ahead, come back with the recommendation for an OPM. You as a board hire the OPM and then work out exactly, is it going to be virtual, in person, or hybrid? I think that's a decision that's probably best for the fire station building committee to make and not us here. So that's kind of what I have there for a draft for you to think about and consider.
Okay. All right, this is how I'd like to organize it, because this is how my brain works. What I would like to do is review this paragraph by paragraph. We'll ask any questions, discuss, open it up to the public for that paragraph. When we finish with the paragraph, we're not going back. That way we're not, because my concern is that we'll have discussion all over the place about different things. You all okay with that? I just think it'll be more efficient.
Can I ask one question on that?
Sure.
At the end, you're going to take a vote
Yep.
on this. Would you like, because I've done a double-spaced draft here that I plan on marking up. Do you want me to make the markups after you've discussed the entire thing and then come back and vote? Or do you want to vote it paragraph by paragraph? Just let me know what works best for you.
I personally think vote it paragraph by paragraph, because if we had to go back, it's going to be confusing.
Okay.
Anybody else?
So you're going to vote paragraph by paragraph.
Yeah, when we're done with the paragraph, we're going to vote it. It's voted. We're not going back. And then, what, you don't
It's
wanna do
okay.
that?
Well, that's
We can
okay.
always re-vote something.
I'm just
Well,
gonna
so-
say, you might have to re-vote something if we make some changes. Well, that's not what we said that doesn't mix anymore with what's in the first paragraph or something.
Let's just re-vote if we
Yeah.
have to. The only reason is we're trying
Just
to
be
do
aware.
this in one night, so that we're ready to appoint next week. And for us to be able to finish this, and for Mike to be able to, I'm not gonna say keep up, that's the wrong word, but I think it'll be
It
probably
is the right
easier.
word.
So let's try it paragraph by paragraph, and we have to go back, we'll go back.
And then-
Wes, you okay with that?
Well, I was gonna say, I don't know if we need to take a formal vote, but we can just you can make the declaration and say, we're just gonna advance paragraph by paragraph, and once they're done with it, and then we can
Okay.
take one final vote. Because then it saves the people that are taking minutes and I apologize
Yeah,
for
we could do
making
that,
a roll call
advance
vote.
paragraph by paragraph. All right. Let's start with background. Does anybody have any questions, comments, edits, amendments, etc. about section A?
Rajan, do you want to bring it up to the background so everybody can follow?
There we go. I mean, it's really just kind of, I admire the word precipice. It's a fun word to say, precipice.
That's what I
We're
thought.
at the precipice.
I'm fine with the content of that paragraph.
All right. Anybody in the public have any questions, concerns, comments for the first paragraph about background? Please, grab the mic. We can pass the mic or you can go up. You on the floor get to organize how you're going to do this. And just introduce yourselves, just in case
I'll
there's
do it,
someone who
thank you.
doesn't know who you are.
Lee Slade, 380 Burroughs Road. First of all, I appreciate the process you've set up here for a dialogue. I think it's very appropriate for the importance of this. I have most of my comments on the composition of the committee, but I do have a few. First of all, Mike, great job on the charter. Appreciate that. The last line, to specifically carry out the design, construction, and delivery of the new fire station, I think is well intended, but I think it's incomplete and it's a little inaccurate. The carry out sort of implies that this committee is actually going to be doing some design or construction or something like that, which is obviously not the purpose of it. I believe more accurately I would propose or suggest to specifically oversee the programming, site selection, design, construction, and delivery of the new fire station. I do think that the programming and the site selection are very important enabling activities that really need to be put front and center of this committee to get this project moving. So that's what I would respectfully propose.
So first of all, I want to brag on Lee because he helped with another resident, helped Mike put everything together for hiring the OPM. So thank you for your time and energy on that. Are you the chair of the personnel board right now?
I am.
And he's the chair of the personnel board, so we have royalty among us. Lee, what does programming mean? I just want to, only because I'm not sure.
So you're asking a question I think speaks to the need to have some technical expertise on the committee itself. Programming is the activity of figuring out the kinds of spaces you need to support the fire station function, which turns the needs, the activity, into a building with dimensions and capabilities of the room. For example, the program of this room would be so many square feet, and that it would have technology, it would have proper light, it would have finishes, it would have sound attenuation, things like that. The programming says this is what we individually need by space and how those spaces go together form a building. That's what architects do. I don't know if I've answered your question, but
No,
when I think
that's
of programming,
perfect.
it's very, very important to figure out how big a fire station we need.
Absolutely. Okay, perfect. Now, before you go, what was the whole sentence? Because I didn't have a chance to write it all down.
I'll read it again if you will.
Please do.
My proposal, starting after the word specifically,
Yep.
oversee the programming, site selection, design, construction, and delivery of the new fire station.
Oversee the programming, site selection, design, construction, and delivery. Okay.
Basically replace carry out with oversee
Yep.
and add the two activities, programming and site selection, to the list of design, construction, and delivery.
All right. What thinks the board?
Rajan, can you roll that up a little bit to where we just roll it up to that paragraph?
It is. It's the last,
Last line.
sentence.
sentence.
Yeah.
A more focused charter to.
Can you
Specifically-
bring your cursor there is what he's asking.
Oh, highlight it. Can you
So
highlight
it's
it?
not carry out, right? It's to oversee it. And I think that's good.
Is that a
Further
word,
down, yeah,
Rajan?
specifically from there.
Oh,
After,
is
yeah.
that, Lee, that's what you're
Yeah.
talking about? I thought you were talking about
No, 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 this
under C,
one, no.
well, it says the same thing, I guess.
We'll fix it when we get there. Yeah, we're starting at the
Sorry,
top.
I'm
No,
sorry.
no, totally fine. That just shows that you have read all of it and you already know it word by word.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
So one of the suggestions I might have is if you've got that in Word,
Edit it.
start editing as we go.
He,
You don't? Okay.
I don't think he does.
Okay.
It's a PDF. Bro.
Just an idea. Yeah, all right.
Well, it would be-
No, I was just thinking, again, just for efficiency, so that when we're done, we have a complete, all right. Wes, I'm always so weak with Zoom. Do you have any comments about changing the sentence?
No, I agree with it.
Okay. Anybody in the public, Zoom or otherwise, have any thoughts about the change in the sentence and making it a little more specific? I don't see any hands. If you have your hand up and I can't see you, say I have my hand up.
Joan.
Oh, Joan. Oh, you know why, Joan? Because I have horrible eyes and your hand is like over the picture.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it looks like part of the picture to me.
She-
Okay. And you're
she's
on
on
mute.
mute.
You can
She's
unmute
muted.
yourself.
No, do we have to unmute her?
Okay. I just want to reiterate that site selection is critical because everything else flows from that. So I'm happy to see that sentence as amended.
Awesome.
We have another
And
comment.
then
Mark Muller.
Mark M. Who's Mark M?
Hello? Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Sorry, let me put the camera up. Okay, hi. I think, I heard the word programming. I was thinking requirements. Are we thinking those are two interchangeable terms? Like, in other words, what must the building, do, even though it seems obvious? But, so maybe that's a question for Lee. Is programming, is that interchangeable with requirements? Because if it isn't, I think we probably need to make sure that we have a good statement of requirements for the building.
I would say they're not exactly the same. You could be added, or it could be a design brief, or a program of requirements, sometimes is what it's called.
What was that last one?
Program of requirements. It's a document that says, here's what we're trying to create, here's what we're building.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's really good to get a line, so I wouldn't argue with the word requirements. I think most people in the industry would know what programming means, that it means a lot of different things, including performance criteria and things like that. But, for example, if we're gonna have to decide if we're gonna build a fire station for how many pieces of equipment and what maximum size of equipment that will fit in the bay, things like that, that all would be part of the programming. And certainly it would be under the category of requirements or criteria also.
I like the idea of oversee the program of requirements.
Yeah,
Again,
me
for a
too.
layperson like me, that makes more sense to me
Yeah,
if
Chris,
it doesn't change the meaning.
Yeah, Chris and I agree. The program requirements, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, just to clarify, I would say that the deliverable for a programming activity would be a program of requirements, right? So we're talking about activities, oversee the activities of programming, site selection, design, construction. Those are all activities, not deliverables,
Oh, okay.
which is why I would draw that distinction. But I have no problem with, you would say, development of a program of requirements or something like that.
So change it to oversee the development of a program of requirements.
Yeah.
Eliminate the word programming from that.
Yeah, okay. So now the sentence is focus charter to specifically oversee the development of program requirements, site selection, design, construction, and delivery of a new fire station.
Just for my own clarification, so program of requirements is the
The
act
development,
of developing a set of requirements that the building must fulfill. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
okay. So oversee the development of program requirements, site selection, design, construction, and delivery of the new fire station. Any further comments, questions, opinions, edits on that paragraph? All right. Mark, your hand is up, but is that, I call those residual hands. Is that a residual hand or a new hand?
Residual.
Residual, awesome. Okay. All right, so if we have tacit agreement, we're gonna move on to membership. And I know this is where a lot of people have opinions, so we're just all gonna listen to each other and be respectful. So let's get right into it. The Boxborough Select Board shall appoint either 5 or 7 members to the Fire Station Building Committee. Okay. What's everyone thinking? I'm gonna go last.
I think 7. I don't think it, I think we just.
I agree with,
Five's too small.
I agree with
So,
Dave.
yeah. And I'm gonna go that route, I'm just gonna get a little bit more specific. I think there should be a member of the select board on it, I think there should be a member of the FinCom on it, plus 5 additional members that are not associated with any other committee in town.
I agree with you as well, Bob.
And.
Just keeping it efficient.
And with that, I think there should be 2 alternates, just in case someone can't make it.
You know, it's funny, I'm gonna just jump on that for a second. I like the idea of alternates because this is a long-term commitment. People's jobs change, people move, things happen. It'd be great, I think, to have alternates
Right.
to be able to jump in and be up to speed with everything if their lives change.
That's right, so it would be a 7-member voting board, 1 member from the select board, 1 member from the FinCom, 5 people from the general public, plus 2 non-voting alternate members. Is what my thoughts.
All right, Wes, we've gone down the table. We hit the Zoom. What do you think, Wes?
I'm fine. I don't know if I would specify that they can't be on other committees because we have some talented people, but I understand, and I don't see it in the wording here that they're explicitly stated, but I just wanted to point that out in terms of the wording that Bob had used.
Okay. All right, let's open it up to the public. Does anybody have any opinions or anything they want to say about where we are? Basically what's on the table right now is 7 members comprised of Select Board, FinCom, 5 additional members, and 2 non-voting alternates.
We have 2 from Zoom.
We have 2 from Zoom. Okay. Mark, your hand got up first. Mark M. It's 2 Marks. We'll do Mark M and then Mark B.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be anonymous. My Zoom is set up with the initial. I'm Mark Marlowe, 880 Depot Road. I was just thinking about the alternatives. It's an awful lot of time. It's a long, 3 years. I'm for having a bigger board, but have everybody with voting rights so that everybody is engaged and.
You know what, Mark, I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Can you
Okay.
possibly turn up your microphone? Sorry.
Or come closer.
Or lean closer. You can turn
I'll
your
lean
you can
clo-
turn your video off if you don't want us to look at, every pore in your face. There we go.
Okay, maybe it'll make it sound better too.
Oh,
Is that
that's better. That's actually better.
Okay.
So I hate to ask you to do it, but can you repeat yourself? Because I only got half of
Yes,
it.
yes, my I think 9 members is fine, I think 2 alternatives is fine, however, I think 3 years of, such meetings and not to be able to vote, I think would be very, it'd be hard to do for me particularly, I'd have a hard time going there and not really, engaged in the voting level. So I would say 9 members, why not have just extra members there instead of calling them alternatives so that you have a quorum and make it more of a quorum, situation rather than having 2 alternatives.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. To go and be able to be part of the conversation and participate, but then not vote, I could see being a little frustrating. Okay.
So, excuse me, why would you vote, why would you have alternates if they can't vote? I would assume an alternate would be if there wasn't a quorum and the alternate could jump in, right? Isn't that what the point is for an alternate? What is the point?
I guess, so, right, so you're saying if one person can't make it and another person jumps in to vote, so you're suggesting that 9 people vote?
No, I'm wondering, what's the point of the alternate? I mean, it's like, I mean, people can watch, if these is on Zoom,
Well, I guess-
people can watch it, but it's like, why are we appointing people to a committee that don't have a vote? per se?
No, I just want, because I think what I would like to see is people who can go to these meetings and can keep up in case someone has to drop off
Okay, so,
from the original 5.
okay.
Okay,
So if someone of the original 5 has to drop off for whatever reason,
yeah,
you've already got a person who has been going to these meetings on a regular
okay.
basis.
It's like an alternate juror.
Exactly.
Okay,
Alternate juror
okay,
would be,
yeah,
a good point, exactly. a good
So that's
example.
what they are there, so they're paying attention to what's going on, and if somebody has to leave, one of them can
Yeah.
move in.
Completely drop off, right? When you
Completely
mean
drop off, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
From the committee,
I see,
okay.
okay, all right, thank you.
So, all right, so, Mark Barbadero, because your hand is up anyway, can I use your expertise on planning and zoning board? We've always had alternates on the planning and the ZBA. How do your boards, or how does ZBA use alternates? Because that might help this board understand it.
So both boards have specific requirements for voting. They have to be, one regular member has to be absent, and then the alternate has to be appointed, or the associate member has to be appointed by the chair in order to vote. It's not a given. But the treatment of the alternates by the regular board members on both boards has typically been that the alternates or associate members would be given the right to discuss and deliberate, debate, and be treated like a regular board member, except the vote.
Sure.
And we have had great success having alternate members. So I don't know, I think you probably could find an alternate member or two for this committee that would be willing to stick it out for a 3-year period, if for no other reason, just to provide input to the voting members. I think it's a possibility. But I reserve my right to comment on this paragraph later because
Oh, no, I know. Yeah, no, I just figured, I'm like, someone with experience with it. So I specifically asked you to answer that question. So yes, you but hold on one second. All right, so what if we changed it to up to 2 alternates? We don't say non-voting. And again, that person those people attend meetings. Member A goes to Bali for a month, then the alternate can be appointed by the chair to take that person's place and vote to keep everything moving right along. That's kind of what I heard you say, Mark.
Correct.
Thoughts? So up to, and that way it could be 1 alternate, it can be 2 alternates. All right, we're okay with that? All right, so Mark, I'm going to bounce back to the floor and then back just to Zoom, so you'll get to talk about this in 1 second, but hold on 1 sec. Anybody from the floor have any comments? I do.
So,
Sorry, Lisa, late again.
Don't apologize.
Ditto on 7, because it's going to be a long haul. I do think there's going to be people drop off. I would suggest that you just reappoint another member if somebody dropped off and not ask people to come for the purpose of providing input personally. But
Okay.
I don't think that's a deal killer for me. The committee chair being elected by the committee, I would strongly suggest something different. I think the most important member of the committee is the chair. That person needs to bring some technical capability, but also a great understanding of the town and the way the town works and what the town needs. That chair needs to be a really good leader, needs to be very committed to the process, needs to be a great communicator, needs to be respected within the town. There's a lot of characteristics for the chair of this committee to make it successful, and I would suggest that the select board evaluate the candidates and appoint the chair. Personally, that's the way the private industry would do. They wouldn't leave an important committee like this to elect their own chair just because of the importance of it. Vice chair, perhaps, but chair, I would strongly suggest the select board elect. I would, now I'll say something a little more controversial, and that is, I don't believe that the chair of this committee should be a member of the select board for the mere reason I see how hard you work, I see how busy you are, and now we're looking at the number of hours, 100 hours to 150 hours a year for the committee member will probably be doubled by the chair. I would expect in the planning and the thinking and the team building and all that other stuff that the chair has to do, that person is going to have a near full-time job managing this at the pace that you want it to go, Mike. And I think it's the right pace, but I think it's a really big job and a very important job.
All right,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, let's process that. Thoughts? Well, no, I just thought we're gonna, as we go, well, no, we have to bounce back to Zoom, but then here, but I wanna, again, as people comment on that, what does the select board think about Lee's position?
I think, I'll jump, sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I think Lee's comment about having the select member not being chair of the committee, I agree with that.
I'm okay with that.
And what do you think about the select board designating the chair based on the volunteer pool?
I would think, why not the committee, the building committee that is going to be assembled, why not they come up with someone and then the select board can approve or like tell them to come back?
Make a
Is that
recommend-
feasible?
make a
I don't know. I'm
recommendation.
just like,
But do you
Thinking
think
on
we
the
would
fly.
actually say to come back? And so you then have the committee will, and if you tell them to come back, then you effectively are discounting or discrediting the committee.
okay.
Well, what I heard Priya say was a compromise between what Lee was saying and what's in the charter. So what I heard her say was, what if the building committee as a group decides who they think would be the best chair and list the merits of that person, and then they bring that forward to the select board for approval. So to me, that's a compromise. Did I misunderstand you?
No,
No, but I think what Wes is saying, following exactly what you just said,
Right.
if the select board says, no, we vote that person down,
Uh,
then we're discrediting the new committee, saying, you guys don't know what you're talking about.
sorry, Wes, I couldn't hear everything you said. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
Mike.
One other thought is we do have a real time challenge on our hands. So in 2 weeks, or is it 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
So 3 weeks from now, or 2 weeks after this committee is appointed, so next week, 2 weeks after that, we're expecting this committee to come back to you with a recommendation on who to hire as the OPM. That's a huge hiring decision, and we don't want to spend a couple of weeks mulling around on who the chair is and comes here and goes back.
Okay.
I think if we lose a couple of weeks, that's a couple of
That's-
weeks in the winter that we're going to be wishing we had.
Yeah.
So just
I
a
don't
thought.
think it needs to take a whole few weeks. So I will say that we have not done this type of thing before, but that doesn't make me opposed to it. In reality, this could be a 10-minute meeting of the select board, and there have been times in the past where we have off-day meetings, like a Thursday, if we even have to have everybody at 7 a.m. We've done that in the past for these types of one-off things. I'm not opposed to this idea, but it is different, and it hasn't been done. And again, at the risk of repeating myself,
No, it's all right.
I don't think new things are bad.
Okay.
I don't think it's bad or good one way or another, but I just want to be cognizant of the time. If you're looking to hire an OPM by the 29th,
We need to, yeah.
you just need to, this committee needs to be able to operate, and I don't know how well it's going to operate without a chair.
Chair, okay.
Well, I mean, can't we do that when we pick the committee?
I actually am leaning towards, I think what you mean, Wes, is that when we choose the committee, we designate a chair. And then my feeling is if the building committee then gives a reason why, or that person doesn't want to be chair or whatever, we go from there. But I kind of like the idea of let's put the committee together, let's designate a chair, they elect their vice chair and their clerk.
Are we picking the vice chair? I'm sorry.
No, they would pick their vice chair and their clerk, but we designate a chair to get them started, because Mike's right, they got work to do.
Christian, why don't we hear from Mark and
Sure,
Maria?
and then Maria.
And then we'll.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, glad I was waiting because
Thank you.
that question about whether the select board should appoint a chair or whether the board itself or committee itself should elect a chair, I think that the select board would be better served by at least letting the board decide who they would prefer to have as a chair, have a discussion, at a committee meeting about who has the time and is willing to do the job before the select board were to decide to appoint someone. You may want to just trust the people that you're appointing to this board to elect their own chair. I think it would be a wise way to go, particularly if you really want to keep this blistering pace. You're going to need some harmony, and part of the way that board can achieve some harmony is by picking amongst themselves a leader. So, but that wasn't why I was why
No,
I
that's
had
okay.
my
I
hand
want to
up.
have a conversation tonight, so you had thoughts about it. So no, all right. So that's okay. All good. But it's your turn now anyway.
Okay. So that I'm not sure which paragraph we're on now. Are we on the second paragraph of membership or the first?
First paragraph. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Just to comment on Bob Stempel's comment, I think 7 members is a great number. If the select board want to participate on that board, or the FinCom, they want the FinCom to participate on that board, that's fine. I don't think that it is necessary, but if you think that it's going to help achieve a better fire station faster and more cheaply, then, have at it. Thanks.
Sounds good. Anybody else have anything else about the first paragraph?
Well, so.
Maria does.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay, sorry,
Poor
Maria.
Maria. Sorry, Maria.
That's okay. So I agree with Bob's comments with respect to adding the select board and the finance committee member in the charter, because I do think there needs to be a member from each ongoing. With respect to being an alternate member, I was an alternate to the personnel board before Lee was the chair. I was really unsatisfying because you do deliberate, you talk about it, you go to every single meeting, you don't get to vote. And it was okay because I did it for 6 months. I would not want to do it for 3 years. And with the school building committee, people were on and off. I wouldn't say frequently, but, we had a committee of 21 people. So there were times where, the next year somebody said, listen, I got a promotion, I can't be on it this year. We just appointed somebody else. Those people then become responsible for coming up to speed by reading the minutes, having questions, talking. I just don't know that having an alternative or alternate members, 2 alternate members, is the best use of somebody's time if they're not voting and you expect them to be there for 3 years in case somebody falls off.
Okay.
Right, so that was 2 things. And then the last thing is, I agree with Mark Barbadero with respect to the chair. I don't know how the select board appoints 7 people and then at that meeting appoints a chair. I think it needs to be the committee itself that appoints the chair, whomever that is. I think that's important because they're working together. So.
Okay. Thank you.
I agree with Mark and Maria about, and I know in industry, I would certainly want to pick the chair because I would sort of know the talent and I want to make sure it gets done. But because of the nature of this, I would prefer to have, as both of them had said, to have the team pick it. I also am still struggling a little bit with the notion of the alternates because I think we want to kind of move this along, and we talked about 5 members, then it went to 7. Now with 2 alternates, it goes to 9. So it's a lot of plus everybody else. So it is a scope creep involved here. And I think Maria's point of if somebody drops off, somebody can join in, and they can pick it up. I think they can. I don't think they can watch the meetings if they're on Zoom and be familiar with it. But I'm not keen on the idea of alternates or whatever we want to call them.
Priya, what do you think? I was going to write down the board.
No,
What do you think?
I think that with our initial thought about the chair being selected by the committee, I think it's appropriate.
Okay.
And in terms of the alternate, I thought it would have merits, but then after listening to everybody, I think I could go either way. But I do agree, like, if they are going to be there, we can still have some people follow along. If they are really that interested, right, they could still follow along. And if somebody else drops, the board by itself, the committee by itself will know, okay, these people have been really vested and they've been following, and they will be automatically appointed to that committee, I would think.
That actually makes good sense.
Yeah, so I don't know if we need to specifically state them to be as an alternate, so.
Bob?
I actually
That's
prefer,
it.
yeah, I actually prefer as going along, and with, I'm opposing Lee, unfortunately. I think the committee should choose the chair. As far as the alternate, I guess I have a question before I give my opinion. If we lose a member on the committee, who is going to choose the new person to do that? Is it that committee, or is it this committee who's going to choose the new
It'll
member?
be us. It'll be the select board, I would think.
Yeah.
Because we appointed
We
the
appoint them.
others, right? So.
Okay.
So it would have to be.
No, we would, I mean,
In
I think we'd
conjunction
certainly
with
take
us.
recommendations. If they said, hey,
Yeah.
so-and-so has been following and very involved, da,
Right.
da, da, da.
Yeah.
Or we know someone who could really add to our group, yeah.
Okay, so then I'm fine not having an alternate as long as the select board has a say, not a say, has an input as
Yeah.
far as
Yeah.
who is the new member, should a member drop off. And so to Dave's point, we don't have an alternate, and I'm fine with that as well.
Wes, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say 7 members, no alternates.
Okay. Sarah, your hand has been up. You've been very patient. Hi.
Oh, did we lose
Wait,
Sarah?
Oh, did we lose you?
Oh, no.
Nope, this is-
There you are. You can unmute.
There we go.
Hi,
Okay,
Sarah.
hi, I'm Sarah Lovato. I also wanted to say that having a member of the select board, I think, should be optional because, again, this is the board that would report into the select board, and also that a member of FinCom, they're essentially a stakeholder in this process, and OPM would be the one that would recommend if the FinCom person should be coming to the next meeting. And this board would also be reporting over to the finance team. So that's why I just wanted to say I think that they should be optional if they want to join the meetings,
Okay,
but
thank
not
you.
necessarily required on the board on this.
Sure. What are the board's thoughts on this?
I still think a select board member should, and FinCom should be on.
I do too.
Dave?
Yeah, you know, I think that's, I think that's important that we have a front row seat.
Wes, what do you think?
I mean, I would agree with Sarah, but I'm only one of 5 people, so I don't really think it matters at this point.
All right. Okay. No, I just think like, I mean, there are times where we can lead from behind and there are times where we need to be in front. So I think this would warrant us to be front.
Matt?
Go ahead.
I would like to support the notion of the 7 with a member of the Select Board and the Finance Committee. To support that, several years ago, 3 people from Boxborough and 3 people from Acton were appointed to work on a regionalization, whether we're going to regionalize K to 12. And I was one of those 3 people. And we worked for a year on that, and we got a lot done, but we didn't really get to the bottom line. The school committee at that point decided to put select board people, three select board or finance committee people from each town on it. So now we have 12 people. We worked another year on that, and when we get finished with that process, the select board was very informed about what was going on because someone was coming to your meetings. The FinCom was very aware about what's going on, and everybody was in agreement when we get to the end of that second year. And I first resisted that because we had spent a year, the 6 of us, on that, and then Kristen actually was one of the next 3 that was appointed to that committee.
I was on that committee.
And it turned out very well.
Yeah. I think, again, we were all elected, you actually put it in a nice way, we need to be in a front seat, we need to participate, we need to know what's going on. It's all well and good to have, liaisons coming back to us once a month or every 2 months, but we won't be up to speed. We are part of that public education and making sure that our constituents are on board with where we're going. So I think it's important. And then Gary Kushner actually talked about the importance of the FinCom being on a building committee. We've always had FinCom members in our building committees because they know how to run the numbers. They know how to talk about bonding. They know how to look at it. What can the town sustain? What can we not sustain? And of course, we're going to have Hung Hwa to help us with, as a finance director. But I think it's really important to have FinCom and Select Board. We don't have to chair, we don't have to be in charge, but I think it's important to be part of the process and part of the discussion.
Have 3 hands.
All right, lots of hands. All right, so bouncing over here, Mark Barbadero.
Thank you. So the only comment I would have is that for the last, and I'm saying this in a respectful way, please don't misconstrue. But for 10 years, we have had FinCom members and select board members on the building committee. And if expediency is supposed to be delivered by a FinCom meeting or a select board, a FinCom member or a select board member, I don't think that that necessarily is a guarantee. Thanks.
Okay, so when I was made chair of the building committee that no longer exists, my whole reason for doing it was to get us to town meeting. Like, that was the only reason I was there, and it happened. And I don't mean to be a jerk, but I don't know if we would have made town meeting if I hadn't pushed really hard to get there. So I actually think that it is important to have a select board member there, especially if the direction is really, really clear. And it was also really important to have FinCom members there as we were talking about numbers. So I'm going to respectfully disagree with that one.
May I say one thing about that, Kristen?
Sure.
That it, being a select board member who has an objective to get to town meeting is what drove the committee to actually get to town meeting. And if that was your goal, mission accomplished. But my point was that prior to you, over 10 years, there has been a select board member on the board, and there was no great drive to push it to town meeting. So I'm just saying that occurred because of who you are and what your objective was, I think. Not so much the fact that you were on the select, but.
Okay, fair enough. It could just be Bossy Pan's personality. Fair enough. All right, bouncing back over here. Any comment from the room? John Marquis.
Thanks, Kristen. I think it's important to have a select board member and a FinCom member, but maybe those members don't need to be voting members. And that way they can still participate, they can still provide their opinions, but each of, the select board members, you're going to get a vote at another point in time, as is the FinCom member. But you can still provide us with your input and your knowledge. But let the 5 people that are being selected because of what they can bring to the table, let them be the primary voters. I would also like to ask the board, since Lee seems to have a tremendous amount of experience in construction and a clear understanding of what needs to be done, that he might be a person that could help the board in going through the 24 candidates and try to give his opinion, if he would be willing to, of what he thinks about each of those candidates. Just a thought.
We will ask Mr. Slade off camera so he doesn't feel like he's under the microscope. Good idea, John. Good idea. Definitely.
Okay, but what about the voting part?
Oh, let's bring that back to the board. Thoughts?
I don't agree. I think we should be, the select board member and FinCom member should be able to.
Priya?
I don't agree. We should be voting members.
No, I don't agree either, because, it's going to be 7 members. If the 5 people don't agree with the FinCom member or the select board member, it's going to be downvoted anyway. So the public is going to have the majority say, being 5 members who are not on the select board. So I think the select board member and the FinCom member should be able to vote.
Wes, what do you think?
I've already expressed my opinion on this, so.
Okay. All right. I'm inclined to want the FinCom and the select board to be voting members. So, okay. All right. Anybody else have their hand up? Is that residual, John, or do you have more comments? Residual. Anybody else? All right. So let's put it all together. The Boxborough Select Board shall appoint 7 members to the Fire Station Building Committee, hereinafter referred to as the FSBC, to include 1 member of the Select Board, 1 member of the FinCom, and 5 community members at large. I'm asking, I'm not telling, I'm asking.
Yeah, they would be at large.
At large, okay. So did you get all that?
I did.
Yeah, Kelly's making
Oh,
the edits.
all right, Cal. Okay, a committee chair, let's see, a quorum shall consist of half, although we can take Wes's, thoughts here too. Do we need to define quorum where it's already defined by the state? We can cross it out, we can leave it. I'm
That's
ambivalent
fine.
about that.
Just leave it the way it is.
Just leave it the way it is. A committee chair, vice chair, and clerk shall be elected from within the committee membership. The chair shall be responsible for scheduling and conducting meetings, setting the agenda, and ensuring that minutes are taken. If the chair is absent or unable, the vice chair shall perform these duties. Does that sound right?
Stamp it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And Kelly, you got all that? It's a working
I've
meeting,
got
so
it.
we can, you got it?
I've got, the one thing where you've changed it from 5 to 7 members, do you want it to say 7 voting members?
Yes.
Okay, I've got that.
And I think we're gonna drop, what I heard is we're dropping alternates, because it's not
Right.
satisfying for the alternate, it's not
Yes.
necessarily, and we will just appoint new members if we need new members. Okay. All right. Next paragraph. So take a minute to read it. Okay, starting with committee members. And then, any questions, comments, considerations from the board on this paragraph? I think what's, I'm just gonna jump in right here. I think the biggest priority, if you ask me, for this committee is that they can work together with a team. And I wanna be clear, that doesn't mean that you agree with each other all the time. That doesn't mean you can't disagree, bring different points of view. But I think it's really important that as decisions are made, even if you're a minority decision maker, once the board has made a decision, you are part of the team and everybody moves forward with whatever that is without going backwards and redoing, et cetera, et cetera. So I think, to me, you know, anybody volunteering for this position has to think about how they work with a group dynamic and if that's comfortable, you know, in terms of being able to move it forward. Because that's where I know the previous building committee lost a lot of time. Me as chair, my bad. I did allow us to keep going backwards to go forward, and it did eat up a couple of months of time, and this committee just doesn't have that.
You have
And-
one hand.
Oh, we have a hand? Sorry. Well, let's do the board first, and then we'll do the hands.
Kristen, I just like to echo that part. I think even if somebody, I mean, in certain areas, we might not vote with the majority. Once the vote is done, I think we all have to, the members have to put a united front and help with like moving that project along. I think that's very, very critical. Like, I mean, not everybody is going to be agreeing all the time, but once some things is decided, then
It's
every
decided.
every committee member has a vested interest in explaining that to the members of the town, right? And explaining that in a way that it can move forward and not be a deterrent.
Any other comments from the board on this paragraph?
I'm fine.
I'm fine with the paragraph, and I agree with, I mean.
I just want to put the emphasis there. Wes, anything? You're okay with this paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mark, I see your hand is up, unless it's residual. Mark Barbadero.
He's able to speak, right?
Does he have to be unmuted?
I needed to be unmuted, or I would
Oh,
have.
I thought
There
you
we go.
guys had unmute. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Couple of thoughts. Are willing to commit 8 to 10 hours per month. If you're intending to limit the requirement to 10 hours a month, it might be better to say up to 10 hours a month, because there could be months when that is less than 8 hours of work to be done. Just a thought.
Yep.
Sure.
You know, when I think of charters and membership regulations, I'm usually thinking of requirements, and not terribly subjective ones. So I see you've got open-minded and team-oriented. Does the board, select board usually pick people who are closed-minded to work as a team on a board? If not, then maybe, you know, that language isn't necessary in the paragraph. I know that might sound strange. I get it that you want people to be open-minded, and I guess this is an encouragement of that. But usually, I guess I'm used to seeing charters with hard requirements, you know, not
Right.
a wish list, if you will.
Well, I guess the way Mike wrote it, and I should let Mike speak to this. I see other critical considerations. I think it's just letting people know what the playing field is. But Mike, why don't you speak to it? Because you wrote it.
Yeah, and the reason I put it that way is because, this is a brand-new committee, brand-new expectations. There hasn't been a new building built here in over 20 years, and so I wanted the community to be clear with whatever's agreed to here. If that's clear or not necessary, we can certainly take that out, but that was my thinking as I drafted this.
I think it's reasonable to have it in there in light of what Priya just said. I mean, the open-mindedness, to me, is, all right, you didn't get what you wanted in the vote, you move on. You be open-minded about it instead of digging your heels in and say, well, this is crazy, we shouldn't do blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, the committee decided, we go on to the next step. That's the open-mindedness to me.
I guess my question, listening to what Mark said, I would agree with him in this aspect where, how do you subjectively evaluate people for open-mindedness? Like, what interview questions are you going to be asking? How are you going to judge that? And can it really be a criteria for committee membership? Because it seems somewhat arbitrary and hard to measure to me.
I think we could take off open-minded. I agree with you there, Wes, because how do you determine? But I do think it's important that anyone who volunteers understands this is a team sport, and that no one person is going to be more important than anyone else, no matter what your background is or whatever. So I'm okay taking out open-minded, I hear you, but I think team-oriented covers Priya and Dave's point. If you're on a team, when the team moves forward,
Then I guess, how do you
team.
evaluate for that if these are the criteria that we're appointing people to the committee with? Are we saying, like, show us how many sports teams you've played on?
Yeah. I agree. It's like a job description. It comes.
So these are things that I put in job descriptions.
Yeah.
And they're considerations.
Yep.
They're not hard requirements. These are considerations of people you're looking for. Now, I was only present for the last year and a half of the building committee working on this, on the public safety building and then the fire station. But my observation was that there was a clear line down the middle. And I think sometimes people were not very open-minded. And I think there was sometimes, lots of people with good intentions, but it wasn't getting done. And I think that the town needs a fire station. And people need to come together and build a fire station.
Yeah.
And so this language may not belong in here, but that was my thinking as I was drafting it.
Bob, thoughts?
I guess my thought is, I'm not hard against open-minded. Kristen, I'm gonna somewhat agree, I guess I'm gonna agree with you. Take out open-minded, but make sure we leave the word team-oriented in it. I'm not against taking out open-minded, but I don't care about the word open-minded. I think open-minded goes with team-oriented, so I think.
That's kind of the way I see it, is it's,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, okay, what do we got? Anybody from the floor? I know this is painful, you guys, but it's because we're doing it all in one day. Marcus, I'm gonna move to Mark M and I'll go back to you, Mark B.
Whatever you want.
Thank you. I just want to make sure everyone has a chance. So Mark M, you're up.
Thank you, Mark. Is it the board's, select committee's plan to interview people?
No, we'll be talking about that next. No.
Okay, so.
We'll talk about how we're going to choose the board next, and the decision hasn't been made yet. We'll be bouncing around some ideas, but I don't believe we'll be interviewing 24 people between now and next Monday. We did ask people to send in a letter of why they're interested, resumes if they have them. We weren't asking people to create resumes, and we're going off based on what we have in writing.
Okay. Well.
But I don't know what the whole process is yet, because the board has to make that decision.
Okay. So in that case, I interpret this statement here as kind of guidance for the select board.
I am so sorry. If you could be louder.
I can.
I'm sorry.
Okay. And so that line in there is guidance for the select board, really, to help them choose, and that's fine. And I have no other comments. Thank you.
Back to Mark B.
Yeah, the first part, the first comment I made, which was less controversial and so boring everyone forgot it, was to commit 8 to 10 hours per month. Could we add as needed at the end of that, or
So
something
up
to
to
say
10
that
hours per month or as needed?
something
what
to
about
that
this?
effect?
Go ahead.
Because you may need to do more than 10 hours, or you
Yeah.
might be able to get away with less if there's nothing going on that week or month or whatever.
So is the suggestion 8 to 10 hours or more as
More,
needed?
As needed. I would
Or
say
up
so.
to
Up to
10
10
hours.
hours
Up to
as
10.
needed.
But
Yeah.
what if it's
it's
need
more?
more?
Yeah.
No, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't
That's
think
okay.
we can
No.
limit it to 10 hours, because, when we interview an OPM, it might be more than 10 hours, and then you're gonna go into the architect, and you might,
Yeah, we might need
This
more.
committee, at least initially, may have more than 10 hours a month that they have to dedicate to hiring different professionals. The OPM will bring people, but, I think that from the building committee, I think that was the experience, that sometimes it was 15 hours, so don't say up to, 8 to 10 hours, roughly, average, whatever you want to
Yeah.
say, but you can't, don't limit it one way or the other.
Yeah.
So you're saying, individuals are willing to commit 8 to 10 hours
An
per
estimated,
month or more as needed?
Uh-huh.
Or an estimated? I
an
mean,
estimated 8 to 10 hours per month.
Or as
needed.
many as needed. I mean, the
Yeah,
bottom line
yeah,
is if you're
yeah.
getting on this committee, you may be, not often, but you may have to be
Yeah.
over 10 hours.
But at least it sets the
Let me,
expectation.
and that's why I put that in there as an expectation,
Yeah.
more because it's an initially forming of the community, of the.
How about if we say a minimum of 8 to 10 hours? So it could be more
Could be
than,
more.
yeah,
Are willing to commit to a minimum of 8 hours,
8 to 10 hours, yeah. Or a minimum of 10 hours.
yeah, a minimum of 10 hours per month, that's fine, sure.
Yeah.
That's fine. Make it simple.
Yeah.
So just so everyone knows, when Mike was writing this, because, we did go over it ahead of time, the 8 to 10 hours doesn't mean you're gonna be sitting in a chair for 8 to 10 hours. It's also prep time. It's that 1 to 2 hours you're gonna spend reading documents before you go to the meeting so you can participate. So
Yeah.
I do like that idea of, a minimum of
Yep.
8 to 10 hours or more as needed.
Well, you could just say, Kristen, you could just say a minimum of 10 hours per month.
Okay. Well, I guess I was thinking where this is a job, like a job description, we are trying to let, and a charter, we're trying to let people know what the
Yeah.
requirements are. But I'm fine with that. All right. Any further comments about this paragraph? We're almost halfway there. Okay. The select board shall consider, all right, so this is a paragraph about that we will take into consideration, a background in fields as architecture, engineering, contract specs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Does anybody have any input on this paragraph? It doesn't mean that you have to, I just saw my face. It doesn't mean you have to have it, it means you can have it. Oh, take out open-minded, we'll just do team-oriented, sorry. No comments on this one? All right, I
Okay,
can't see,
Bobby.
Mark Barbadero, is that residual or new?
New.
New, bring it on.
Okay, I was distracted at the time, so apologies. Is this the following paragraph?
Yep, we're on the next paragraph, yep.
Yeah, my issue with this is a minor one, but it says shall be considered but not required, something to that effect.
Yep.
Where it's actually not shown on the screen. I apologize here. Yeah, shall consider but is not required. Well, I just grabbed Merriam-Webster's dictionary to look up the definition of consider, and it says to think carefully about, right? To think of, especially with regard to taking some action. Nowhere in there does it say that it is a requirement. So to me, it's redundant, and in fact, it's I don't think it belongs in a charter to say, the select board is not required to appoint individuals. I think that goes without saying. Select board members will appoint whoever they think is best for the board, but to consider it is enough. Be able to just strike that and have the same effect. It sounds more like a disclaimer than a requirement. That's
My mother, the editor, would love you for that. You are absolutely right. It is redundant, and it just means that might be part of our consideration. I'm okay with that. He's right. Any other questions, comments, et cetera, on that paragraph? Yay! On to the next one. All right, so Mike already suggested that we strike building commissioner and director of land use and permitting,
Yep.
and he explained that already. Do we need to review that? Anybody?
Nope.
All right. Any other discussion on the rest of that paragraph? We are cooking with gas. All right, charge.
So,
Oh,
okay,
wait.
well,
No,
let me
not
ask
done.
this question, okay. So, serve as non-voting advisors to the, so, what does that, what's an example of that, Mike?
I'm sorry, Dave, where are you?
So, I'm still on that paragraph, before, the last paragraph, on
Serve
the
as
section B,
non-voting
B. So, the select board is identifying people to be non-voting advisors, so who would that be?
That would be the town administrator.
You're already in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but that's an extension of that sentence. So the town administrator, the fire chief, you want to be at those meetings. I don't think you want to be voting members, nor should they be, but they need to be there.
Agreed.
Another one.
I'm not sure what your question is. They're advisors to the committee. They're gonna bring the technical expertise to the committee on behalf of the town, and they're non-voting.
And other non-residents.
In other words, so you wanna know who
May, at
that
the
might
discretion
be.
of the board, service. So, like, who are the others? I mean,
I don't know who those others might be, or I would have named them.
Yeah.
But let me
You wanna
just
leave it open?
Let me pick one out of the hat. Okay, Lee Slade has, kind of popped his head up today and offered some great suggestions. You might at some point ask him, would you come on for a 6-month period to get this thing off the ground? Or maybe somebody else who might not be able to commit to a 3-year, but you want to put on there as a non-voting member to get this thing off the ground. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't belong there, but that was my thinking, that you may come up with somebody to get this thing going that you may not need for the long term of this.
Like, could be the police chief, if there was.
Possibly.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So I was thinking of it in terms of the autonomy of the committee, that the select board was doing that, appointing this person. That's, that just seemed like, why, if the committee, if the building committee wanted to have somebody else on board, they could certainly tell us, but why would we tell the building committee, oh, you need this, you need Lita to come in for 6 months?
I don't. Is it like, are we telling them? We are just allowing them, right? It's in the charter that by saying that.
I
Is
think
that
the
what, how
board
you,
can
you
mean
read it? That's how I read it, Dave.
I think the board could mean the actual fire station committee itself, not just the select board.
Oh, the board isn't the select board, the board is the
fire
station committee?
Yeah.
Oh, then that, because usually when I
we
see
should
the
change
board,
that to,
it usually
okay.
identifies it at the beginning of
Alright.
the document saying,
Okay,
and the select
I
board,
see.
AKA
Change.
board.
So instead of
oh, because they're
discretion,
just serving as non-voting advisors, so save board, change board to
committee.
FSBC.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Rajan.
Thank you.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, now we're at the charge. Okay. First paragraph. Anybody have any questions, concerns, or comments? I can't see any people. Do we have any hands up? Anybody in the audience? Everyone's doing such a good job.
Right, okay.
Okay, next paragraph about reporting.
So this is my question.
Okay, go ahead, yeah, because I have questions
Wait, can you
too.
come up to the microphone? Does this language have to change based upon that first language you put up?
No, sir. The paragraph starting, the FSBC shall report to the select
Yeah,
board.
but I was speaking more towards.
Rajan, can you move?
I was speaking more to the second line in that paragraph, where it says, shall make specific detailed recommendations, including rank possibility locations. I thought you were talking, isn't that the same language in the first paragraph?
Yeah, when I first reviewed this, my comment about that sentence was that this is a little too vague. the FSB should make a ranked recommendation of viable sites supported by comparative factors, but that probably is a little too specific.
I
But
actually like the
I
word
think,
viable versus possible. I think just the word viable is an improvement.
yeah, and I think this select board needs to decide if, what they want from this committee relative to site selection. Because I think if I was in your shoes, what I would want is a recommendation for the best site with all the comparative factors evaluating the other possible sites considered. But I would want them to say, we think this is the best site because, and not throw that to the select board to do another site evaluation.
Oh, please, God, no.
No, I just wanted to make sure that this paragraph didn't contradict with your first paragraph, with the recommended changes you made.
I don't believe it has any conflict, no, sir.
I'm all set then, I'm fine.
Okay, so let's go back to, is it the best viable location? Because I do agree, or ranked,
No, just let's go with viable.
just viable? Okay.
Yeah.
But what about the word ranked? I guess by ranking it, they create a best to
Okay.
a not feasible. Lee?
My thought about that is a rank with, this is our number one site for these reasons, but there may be reasons that site is not acquirable, it's not, there may be other things that committee does not have control over that the select board would have control, and also the decisions of, we want to make that investment on, ask the town to make that investment, that's really the select board's prerogative, I believe.
Okay.
As opposed to this committee say, well, we have to go ask the town for, all this money to acquire this site or to remediate this site or whatever the problems might be. But I think saying, we think this is what you should do, and then it's up to the select board to say, okay, what other ideas you got, because we're not going to do that, right? Let's go to the second site.
Okay, so how should the sentence read?
I suggested the FSBC should make should make a ranked recommendation of viable sites, supported by comparative factors.
Ranked
Recommendation.
Cost projections, design and project schedule to meet the needs of the town of Boxborough. There's other things that go along with every site, I
Recommendation of
believe.
viable
All right.
sites.
A ranked recommendation of viable sites, what were the words after that? Lee, I'm sorry.
Supported by comparative factors.
Supported by comparative factors.
Yeah, then cost projections, design.
And
Comma,
then the
cost
rest.
projections.
Yep.
So,
That's definitely tighter. Any other thoughts on that? Don't go anywhere. No.
Put your chair up.
We got one.
Oh, we have one. Joan?
You need to, okay. I don't know where it belongs or whether it belongs in this document at all, but I would like some recognition that the site selection process is absolutely critical, and I don't want to see it rushed because we want to move things. I think there needs to be some parameters on how long it will take, reviewing previous studies, gathering input. This is critical, so I just want to make sure that we're in agreement that we don't just rush to find the location because we're eager to keep moving.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, honestly, Lee, let me pick your brain a little bit. What's more important, the program or the site? I don't think I have the right words. So it's a chicken, in my mind, I've always grappled with the chicken and the egg. So what do we have to figure out first, like from your experience, the site and what it supports, or what we need and what site supports it?
yeah, I think the town needs to figure out what's the minimum fire station that it needs. And there may be some other aspects or programmatic elements that would be great to have if we can fit them on a site or if we can afford them. But we need to figure out what's the fire station this town needs for the foreseeable future, and then find a site that supports it.
Great.
My only concern with that is I don't want to open it back up to more than 4 sites.
I think those are the only opportunities we have. I mean, only because for the last 10 years, the building committee has so many studies
I know.
on sites, and we were back down to those 4.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Joan, does that address your concern about taking time and finding the right location?
To some extent, it's more, when you get into the process and on the committee, I don't think we need to revisit every possible site, but I don't want this to be a rush to judgment, because if you're trying to get it to town meeting and get buy-in, the very basic, what does a fire station look like and what site does it fit on appropriately, needs to be clearly presented to town meeting.
But if we do the due process, and if all the facts are there, and we all decide how the facts were determined, and we go from there, vote on it, I think we should be able, I think that's a good process. Thing is, as long as we have
agree.
all the facts, right?
Yeah, I just feel like there could be a tendency to sort of gloss over that piece of it, making the final selection. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, I think that all wraps in, and I think it also goes way back to when we were picking our town meeting times. If the building committee comes forward and says, we need more time to figure out what the right site is or what we really need, we just push the town meeting, because I mean, or we don't have that on that particular town meeting. So I think we can address that as we move through. I think that we have to balance moving the project and getting it to town meeting so we can start the build. In part, if there's one thing I learned from being on the previous building committee is every 6 months we've spent money. Like every 6 months that we move, we
delay.
it costs us more, right? So we're already $10 million behind because it's taken us 10 years to get here. So I think that, again, it's all about balance. So we're not rushing. We're gonna work hard, we're gonna commit the time and the energy and the effort, and when we're ready, we bring it to town meeting. You know, so again, balance. Does that make sense?
One of the things in the earlier discussion about town meeting dates, one of my big concerns was in getting to November or December, knowing that site selection is critical and it's very time consuming. That's why I was favoring February.
Yeah.
If we're not ready by February, we're not ready, but at least that gives us a better chance.
Yep.
That was my thinking in the dates.
I'm a big person that needs to work to a deadline. If I have no deadline, I will never get anything done. So, but duly noted about that one.
So, Kristen, I'd like to comment on something that I think I heard Bob say in terms of going back and looking at sites, whether this charge needs to say 4 sites.
That's right.
So that we're not, oh, what about this site? Well, okay, we've already been through 10 years of what about this site? So I think we have 4 sites to look at, and we should be looking at those 4 sites, not.
All right, so
I mean, it's got to fall. You know, it's got to manna from heaven if a awesome site falls out of the sky. But I just don't want people trying to spend the committee's time and energy trying to find a 5th site. You know, it's like, right, we got these 4 sites. Which ones are in, which ones are out, and what's the rank order?
All right, so this is my opportunity to sing your praises now, because I know that when you were first elected, you spent a lot of time looking for other sites. You know, I mean,
I did,
you
yeah,
personally did a ton of research looking at any other possible site that you could bring to the board, and we did spend some time on it. So, all right, so thank you for that. So you come with that with some experience, and we shook the tree, whatever we did. All right, how about this? Ranked recommendation of the 4 identified viable sites, or
Sure, that's fine.
previously identified? Do we list the sites?
If I can play devil's advocate,
Please do.
you want to limit yourself in a charter to a number of sites? I agree. You've got 4 primary sites. Those are the places we want them looking. But what if it turns out that none of them are viable?
Well, I think we've already gone past that. One of the sites is viable, if not 2 of the sites are viable. And so I think
Okay.
one of the sites, if not 2 of the sites are viable. I think we've gone past that. Kristen, wouldn't you agree to that?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So I don't really, exactly.
Yeah, I think with the charter, it might be a little too prescriptive to have it in there, because
Okay.
it's just supposed to be the structure of the committee versus.
So leave it as viable sites, as we wrote before, and then honestly, it's gonna be up to the committee as appointed to figure out what those sites, and you know, I think also that if they're reporting to us on a regular basis, either through their select board liaison or by coming and doing little mini updates, if they do identify manna from heaven, they'll bring it forward to us and we'll go from there. But I think we could work pretty quickly through it. Okay. All right, so including ranked recommendation of viable sites supported by comparative factors. We already have that one. Okay, any further discussion on this paragraph? We only have three more paragraphs. We're almost done. Okay, next paragraph, the SBC shall be responsible for reviewing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There is a lot to review.
And this is where Mike made some changes, right?
Mike, did
With
you take out the whole last
invoices.
Yep. So
Yeah.
tell us what you already did,
Invoices.
because I wrote it, I have two different copies here.
This was the invoice piece.
Yeah, so just the last sentence. I would suggest taking out that last sentence and just have the FSBC shall develop financial policies and bring them back to the select board within 30 days. Or within some time period. Maybe it's 60 days because.
No,
you know,
I'm not just at the days, I'm, okay. So your intent is you want the building committee to develop their own financial policies on when and how invoices are approved.
And there may be other things to include there as well. I think that what needs to be in there is that this committee is going to vote on and approve all the invoices before they're paid.
So, see, I just want to stop there. I think it should be vote on and approve POs. Because once a PO is cut, how are you going to not approve an invoice for it? A purchase order. I'm saying, I think the committee should vote on the approval of purchase orders.
Did
not
someone
invoices.
pass Maria the mic?
Yep.
No, don't feel bad.
We can do that, but we need to, and I'm working with our new finance director who would like to set up a purchase order system. We just don't have that set up yet.
So, and the purchase orders aren't a surprise. So when you're sitting on this committee, you have an OPM, you know, you get stuff in advance. So it's not like when they have to order the steel for the school, we didn't have, because, you know, they went out to bid and they came back with the steel. We had a couple of meetings, and you don't get billed the day they order the steel, right? So it's not, I guess, you're saying once it's done, but you already should be well aware of what's being ordered. You should be well aware of what the costs are before you get the committee, before you get to the point of, here's your invoice, right? It's $1 million for your steel. You should already know that's in the works, so it's not a surprise. We were, and Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, we were told the cost. Like, we knew what the steel was going to cost before we ordered it. We knew that by ordering the steel by a date certain because of COVID, we were going to save money. And that's how, you know, this stuff doesn't just pop up. Like, they don't just, the OPM doesn't go off and order anything without it being reviewed as part of the bigger plan.
Okay.
I see Lee nodding.
Does that make sense, Lee?
So
Right?
Maria,
That's how-
I understand your question, but let me ask, did you have a situation where a PO was cut for $25,000 and the invoice came in for $30,000?
The invoices, when we approved them, Mac, again, correct me if I'm wrong, we got those invoices as part of our pre-meeting packet, and we reviewed them, and then we saw what was being voted on. So, you know, Bob Stemple is supposed to, you know, he's whatever, you're gonna do the groundwork or whatever, you're gonna get paid $30,000. That's what you invoice us. And if you invoice us for $15,000, we're not cutting $30,000 to you. And that's all part of the pre-meeting packet, correct?
I think
Yeah.
Bob's question is, what if it was over? What if it's $20,000 more than the purchase order?
Right, the purchase order was for $20,000, and they said, oh, I had to have 5 extra guys do the work, so the purchase order
That
was
was us.
$20,000, but the invoice is now $30,000.
First of all, our OPM should be on top of that and would not be giving the committee an invoice that has a different number than was expected. That is one of the jobs of the OPM, to negotiate that with the architect and with the contractor, as well as his own company, and they will have worked that out before it comes to the committee for a vote on the invoice.
Okay.
Lee, do you have anything to add to that? And Sarah, I see your hand is up, sorry, hold on one sec.
I think that's one of the big values of the OPM. I agree with what was said there, is when you buy a job out, you can't guarantee you're going to buy every trade out for exactly what the budget was. And if you do, that's what you have contingencies for, and in aggregate, you expect your OPM to be able to deliver it in budget. And when you start seeing budget overruns or problems buying out a project for whatever reason, that's when, you stop and you take a deep breath and you notify the select board and say, we may have an issue here that we're going to have to deal with. So there shouldn't be a big surprise. Invoice is not where the surprise is going to be. It's at the buyout.
All right, I'm fine.
All right, that makes sense. Sarah, did you have something to add? Did we lose you? Oh, there you are. Sorry. There you are.
Is she on? Yeah, there we go.
I have this immediate need to lower my hand before I start talking, because otherwise I forget.
I know, then you have a residual hand. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So another thing to note too is that there's often sometimes disputes on invoices. So whether or not, and this is again where the OPM is going to make the recommendation of whether or not we approve the invoice, and so occasionally there are disputes on invoices, and that's why it's important to have that reviewed ahead of time. And also the change management process, so the change order process, should be outlined and detailed in every contract with every consultant that is hired on the project. So there shouldn't be any question as to getting a PO later on or an invoice later on that's greater than the PO. There would already have been a change approved for that.
Okay. That makes sense.
Just wanted to add a little to that too.
Okay. John Markowitz? Can you unmute John? Oh, sorry.
I think you've got
No, he's still muted. He's still muted.
Yep, no, can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Yep.
Kristen, I think you got
Yeah, so I agree with what Sarah and Lee said. It's really up to picking the right OPM to get this work done properly, okay? Because you will have significant change orders in any construction project, and it's important to be aware of those early and manage them and understand what the cost of those will be. Thanks.
Okay. No. Good point. Good point. Wes, do you have anything to add, Wes? Sorry.
Nope.
Nope. Just making sure, because people are scrolling up and down there. All right. So before we finish this paragraph, Mike had proposed a sentence. The FSBC shall develop financial policies within X days of their first meeting to bring back to the select board for approval.
Yes.
I think 60. I think 30 is too. I think everyone's new and trying to get their legs in the ground.
Yeah, 60 is
Anybody on the
better.
floor or anybody out there have experience on what's reasonable?
Policy or procedure, Mike?
Procedure, sorry.
Right, because the policies are set by the select board and the
Yep.
FinCom by financial policy.
Yeah, Kristen, it should be procedure.
All right, so develop financial procedures within 60 days of being appointed?
Sure, that sounds
Or within
reasonable.
60 days of their first meeting?
Mhm.
Okay, all right, and if they need more time, they're gonna ask us more time. Okay. Okay, any other changes in that paragraph? Last but not least, we have conduct. So when Mike and I talked about this, I personally feel that in-person meetings are more productive, more collaborative. You can read people's body language. You have better opportunities to speak. That is my opinion. But when Mike and I talked about it, we decided, when this was written, that the FSBC should decide how they want to meet versus us. But what are all your thoughts?
I agree.
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
Okay, because we one of the big things about hybrid is that we did discuss, is that the professionals may not be able to be here in person all the time, and we certainly don't want to. The other thing we were talking about is we certainly wouldn't want to lose the best OPM because they said no way am I going to spend 10 hours a month in Boxborough, but I'd be happy to Zoom in.
And they'd be charging us for travel time.
So anyway, that's kind of where that came from. But anybody have any other?
No, yeah,
Thoughts,
right.
opinions?
I just exactly what you
Leave it
just
the
said.
way it is?
It's not our decision; it's the FSB's decision. Yep.
Okay.
Mark,
Now,
no, Mark has a
Oh,
hand.
sorry, Mark, Barbera, Mark B.
So the one suggestion I might make is that there may be board members and as well as professionals that are going to be employed that might not be able to meet at a specific location but could meet virtually. Also, a person like myself might have a lot of information on their home PC that they might be wanting to be looking through. I've got a big monitor that I can look at plans to scale on my monitor at home. I might have other shortfalls like bad vision or bad hearing, and I might fare better virtually. And also, if you want public engagement, the best way to get it is with a hybrid meeting, because as there are tonight, there are many people who are here virtually who would like an opportunity to participate, weigh in, and maybe at least understand what the building committee is doing, and maybe support could be gathered by people who are attending these meetings virtually. So I would recommend at a minimum that you recommend, if not enforce, a hybrid meeting platform so that you get as much buy-in from the community as you can possibly get. Thanks.
Thoughts?
Please, I leave it up to the FSB. I just leave it the way it is.
I think we leave it up to them to.
Leave it up to FSB.
And I'm sure that, like,
They're
it's going to
gonna
be
do the right
probably
thing.
high, yeah.
They're gonna do the right
hybrid.
thing.
There's one thing that this new committee's gonna have to navigate, and that is getting 2 meetings a month onto our calendar into a room.
Yeah. Fair
And coordinating with, with Kirby and crew. So I think that's one that's probably best for this committee
Right.
to figure out. When can they meet with the OPM, and how do they coordinate and get it out to the community? So
All right, so let's not mandate anything, let's leave it open. But my guess, Mark, is it's gonna be hybrid. It's just the way it's gonna lay out.
Right,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is a committee, they can take public input saying we want these meetings to be hybrid, and they'll listen to that to the public. I mean, this
Right.
is a committee, so they should be listening to the public.
Wes, did you have any thoughts? I can't see you, I'm not trying to call you out, it's just because I can't.
No, I do agree with the hybrid, but I just would make sure that we call it the FSBC, not the FSB, which is the Soviet Intelligence Agency.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, any other comments or questions? Second to last paragraph. Last paragraph. Okay, so we did get an email from a citizen who felt that 3 meetings or 30 days was too long for minutes to be posted, because if you did have any concerns about it and you didn't actually see it until 3 meetings later, chances are the board would have moved past it and you would no longer have any input. Thoughts?
So what do they wanna do?
They suggested that it not be 3 meetings. I think, I don't remember. I mean, I read the email. I know the intent was, help us out.
If I may,
You may.
I was in the conversation
I know.
with this other citizen. And I think the concern there was that untimely minutes, if there's action that comes out of a meeting, particularly if we're working on an urgency, that the action needs to be known to all parties so they don't wait weeks to, come to the next meeting and say, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. So my suggestion about that, and I don't think it needs to be in the charter, but I think it needs to be in the process of how this committee works, is to create and keep an open issues list with an action item. So, and that gets published the day after the meeting. You almost don't leave a meeting without everybody knowing what the expectation
To-do
is,
list.
because this cycle of meetings is going to come very fast. There's going to be a lot of decisions that need to be made and action that need to be taken. And the documentation is important for lots of records in the open meetings law, but I think what's more important is for the committee to know exactly what they're doing when they disband, so when they get back together, it's done.
So the to-do list, as Priya just said, is part of the minutes?
That becomes published as part of the minutes, but it's like the immediate thing. The problem with minutes is, that there's a process, and there may be a lot of documentation needs to be done, and everybody's busy. I was going to suggest that once this committee is formed, that I know there'll be a clerk who will be elected, and I guess maybe legally that clerk has to keep the minutes, but there may be a way to provide some kind of administrative support to this committee to keep up with the paper side of it. Just a suggestion, because I think that could become quite voluminous pretty quick. But the most important thing is the open issues list that should be extremely timely, like real time.
Could you pass the mic to Mac or Maria? Because I'm curious how you guys managed it. Thank you. While you're standing there.
Under open meeting law, within 24 hours, there should be a draft created. And so I have, as the chair of the Finance Committee, have had to produce draft minutes within 24 hours. I believe, Mike, unless that's changed. So in the past, I've had to do that, and sometimes that's difficult. It wasn't difficult for me because I had Gary, and he was the greatest minute keeper ever.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah, I'll let Mac talk to.
I have some concern about one of 7 people being the clerk and having to keep the minutes, and I agree that I would hope that there might be some support from Town Hall with the documentation. The building committee that we were on, the superintendent's administrative assistant looked in on all the meetings, and because they were hybrid meetings, and did the minutes. But it's not just the minutes, it's like what you have to do, sending out all the documents ahead of time so that people can then read them. And I think that's going to be an onerous job for one of 7 people on this committee. And also, as you know, you have someone supporting you. If one of you were having to write minutes instead of participating in the conversation, it's a very difficult thing. So I would hope that there would be some way to accommodate and support this committee.
I'm glad you brought that up. When I was in the ZBA, I always got stuck being the clerk because I was the only girl. I'm just going to say it. I got stuck. And you can't participate in a decision when you're trying to make sure you're documenting what everyone else is saying. So you're right. That one person becomes ineffective.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should probably provide
Find
some
administrative support.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to ask, and maybe Sarah would address this, but what about the OPM? Isn't the project manager's job to kind of manage the to-do list and what needs to be done and who's going to do it? I mean, it seems like that shouldn't really fall to the committee necessarily to do that.
Yeah, Dave, that is a very typical thing you'd ask an OPM to do if they have the resources, but it depends on their capabilities and their capacity, whether you want to do it yourself or pay somebody to do it.
Well, right, because let me ask the question. I mean, could the OPM say, well, if you want me to take minutes, I'm going to hire an admin to take the minutes?
Yeah, I would say it may depend on the kind of company that they are.
Right.
If they're a one-person
shop,
Yeah.
maybe that's a burden that wouldn't be very practical to put on them.
Right. So bottom line, as the suggestions are out there, either the OPM's going to hire in, or we're going to have to, or the town itself is going to have to pay for the minute taker.
Right. It is. The OPM would be in a very good position to create the content because they're going to be on top of they're going to be in all the meetings. They're going to be on top of them. But it just matter. I think it just needs to be worked out to the point.
Yeah.
What's best for the way the committee is going to function. But I do agree that a member of the 7 is going to be very much burdened to try to keep up with the paperwork because it's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Good input. Okay.
I have a few questions.
Sorry. I'm just going in order. Mark Barbadero.
Well, speaking as the current clerk of the
And
ZBA,
you're not a girl.
who is a man, the way we managed it when Kristen stopped keeping the minutes. Actually, I think I kept the minutes one of those times myself.
I think I had a tantrum and I stamped my foot and said I wasn't doing it anymore. Yeah.
But in any event, we ended up just hiring a stenographer to do them for us, and that has been the process for several land use boards, that they don't keep their own minutes. This project is going to be, in the multiple tens of millions of dollars when it's all done, and keeping accurate minutes matters. Every building committee I've ever been on, the OPM has kept the minutes themselves. that can be dangerous. You got to make sure you read those minutes very carefully to make sure that they're not, that they're accurately reflecting the decisions of the board. But I think that, you know, funding should be appropriated if the OPM is not doing it, to have someone to take the minutes, and then the board just reviews and approves the minutes. The section that you're on now, section D, I misunderstood when I saw the heading. It says conduct. I thought that was, you know, you better act this way or do this or do that, not the conduct of the board. So you may want to change that to like conduct of the board.
Conduct of
Board
the what?
meetings or something like that. But it also got me thinking that the board clearly wants people to behave a certain way, and so they were saying that they would decide who would be committee members based on their team spirit and their open-mindedness and other things. And I think that's hard to quantify, and I don't know how you could rate people on a scale of open-mindedness, and I don't know how you can rate them on a scale of team spiritedness. So I thought to myself, maybe you want to add another paragraph and say what your expectations of the people who you appoint, and then not try to get into, I like this person because they're a little more open-minded than that person, and so if you could actually add another paragraph here and just lay out the expectations of board members, if that's what you're concerned with. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. We did cross off open-minded, we kept team-oriented, and I think part of the way we can see is if people have experience working with groups and teams based on their written submissions. Because you're right, we're not interviewing anybody. We're not, you know, it's not going to be, okay, who's full of energy and, you know, team spirit might be the wrong word. But we did I'm not sure I want to add another paragraph about how people should behave.
Sure, I don't want to have that.
But that's, what does the rest of the board think?
I thought we were not going back.
Oh, we're not going back, sorry. We're not going back. I forgot we're not going back. We did cross off open-minded.
Yeah, one more hand.
Jim Conley, your hand is up. Hold on, we'll unmute you. Hold on. There it goes. Okay.
Sorry.
No, I don't know what.
Hi, Jim Conley. Part of my regular job, I have to do periodic public meetings within minutes requirements, and typically I pay my contractor to arrange that. There's plenty of, you know, court reporters, freelance court reporters, stenographers, services that are out there, and I think if you explain to the OPM when you hire them how many meetings they're expected to cover and how long you think they're going to be, they ought to be able to reasonably price that.
All right, that's what I was saying earlier.
That's all I had to say on the subject.
Yeah, Bob just said that's what he was thinking too. And quite frankly, you know, the town appropriated a lot of money to figure all this out. I think we can find money for stenography. Is that the right word? Maria.
So that was my, there's no budget for this committee.
Right.
But it's within the $500,000.
Right.
If it was worded, as long as administrative help and, you know, through the OPM. But that needs to be worded as part of the bid or whatever, however you're gonna do that, right?
All right, so we'll wrap that in.
Because there is no budget for a recording secretary.
Okay.
And that recording secretary for FinCom, and we have a number of meetings a year, is $3,500 this year. So that would probably be similar for 2 meetings a month. So that probably would be similar going forward if we had to budget that. But there is no money in that budget.
Okay.
It would come out of the warrant article.
It just makes sense to come out of the warrant.
Exactly, no,
Yeah.
it should be part of that 500,000.
But I just want to be clear on that.
Wes, do you have any thoughts on this?
No.
Okay.
Nothing.
Again, not calling you out, just wanted to make sure I don't miss anything. All right, I think we're done. Wait, no. Okay. We still don't have the, I am so sorry. Did I just do that when I?
Sky's falling.
I have power.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad no one was standing there. My goodness. Is it just the cover for the speaker?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think it's when you banged it, you vibrated it, and it
Oh, my
popped out.
lordy. Oh, I can't play Frisbee, throw it to Dave. Okay, so we do have to fix this, though. In accordance with guidance from the Attorney General, minutes from each meeting shall be approved by the FSBC. I wrote this on mine, at their next scheduled meeting and posted on the town's website, especially if we have administrative help that's going to develop them. There's no reason you couldn't read them and approve them at the next meeting, okay?
Sounds good.
I'm asking.
At least drafts should be,
Yeah, draft.
right? And more importantly, like Lee said, the to-do list, like the take-backs, what each one has to do
I
has to
kind
be
of feel
done.
like the board needs to determine that doesn't go in the charter, or you want to add that, do you think it should be in the charter, that there should be a open
Okay.
action item list?
Okay.
No.
I think there's a lot of procedures that will be developed by this committee that
Committee,
they will
okay.
have to figure out.
Okay.
But are we okay saying that minutes shall be approved at their next scheduled meeting and posted on the town's website?
Draft meeting?
Go
Let
ahead,
me
Maria.
So I think that the concern that Lee raised, you and I saw that email, and I think the procedures, the to-do list, the action item list, I think that's covered. I think that covers that concern, and that's an internal committee thing. We might be able to reduce this last two paragraphs, or the whole last section to, the conduct of the committee will be in accordance with open meeting law and, conflict of interest. Maybe we just, maybe
Oh, so
I've
you're
just,
gonna redo this?
yeah, I think maybe I put too much verbiage in there, because it has to be in accordance with MGL. And maybe we just leave it at that, and then the procedures, we leave up to the committee. They'll establish that action item list, because that's what they have to do anyways, to keep functioning as a committee and be ready for the next meeting in 2 weeks.
And then the only other thing is, take into consideration, Mark B. brought up, is the word conduct the right word? It's how they're going to conduct themselves as a board, but it's not individual conduct, so.
So,
How about if I retitle it as conduct in accordance with Mass General Law?
Okay.
Conduct of
Meetings and minutes.
Conduct of the
I think
committee.
Mark recommended
Committee.
conduct of the board,
Of the committee.
of the committee.
of the committee, okay.
Maria had something.
Marie, I'm sorry, I'm taking notes.
No, my only thing is, Kristen, we can't change. The Attorney General says 3 meetings or 30 days.
Oh, is that actually what the
That
AG
is,
says?
that's from the open meeting law,
Oh,
right?
all right.
Correct?
Oh, I
So,
don't know.
I mean, we can't just say, I don't think you should put something in there that says 1 meeting. I think what you say in accordance with, we will do our best, the committee will do everything it can. But, what happens if our recording secretary takes minutes one day and then, I don't know, has an emergency and can't get it ready for the next meeting? You should not have that part of the charge.
So just take off the whole second
It just should be in
Yeah.
accordance with open meeting law.
law,
yeah.
and then take off the next in accordance
And-
with.
right.
That's
And-
what Mike is, I think,
Right,
just
and
said.
then keep members are individually responsible for complying with conflict of interest. So we're taking out,
Yep.
In fact, maybe I'll change the title too, from conduct to Mass General Law.
Yeah.
And then just in accordance with, conflict of interest and open meeting law.
Okay.
And just make it real simple, just in accordance with
Make
the
it
law.
simple.
So it makes, I overthought this whole paragraph.
With the intention that the committee will do its best to have it voted at the next meeting. But with respect to whomever it is that sent your email, there's the law, and we need to be within that, and we will, and I just think you're right.
Yeah.
Don't
I
tie
like
the
it.
hands of the committee.
And I
Cut to the
and I
chase.
think the concern was more to do with what Lee raised, is a procedure for action items from the meeting than the law. I think those are handled separately.
we are done. Any further discussion on the charter? Because we are done.
So we will look at the next, at the updated charter at our next meeting and approve it.
No,
No,
we
we
can
don't-
do
we-
them.
we don't-
up-
we can approve it,
as-
approve it as amended.
We're gonna approve it as
I'm okay
amended
with
tonight.
approving it as we
Yep.
wordsmithed it tonight.
And then I can email you that final, what you voted this week.
Yeah. I'm fine with that, Kristen.
All right, I move to approve the fire building committee charter as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Wes?
Looks like.
Bob?
Stemple, aye.
Priya?
Sundaram, aye.
Dave?
McCann and I.
And Hilberg, aye. Nice work, everybody. That was a lot. That was an hour and a half. A lot of work. Thank you. Okay, next. The next thing on our agenda is how we would like to go about the appointment process. We have never had 23 or 4 people raise their hand for 5 positions. So this is new for all of us. Again, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Mike and I had a little chat about it. Dave popped in at the time, Wes had popped in, we didn't have a quorum, everybody was moving and shaking. One of the thoughts that was thrown out was that we have the stack of names, we have everyone's emails and resumes. After tonight, Mike is going to email out what we've approved, make sure that everybody still wants to volunteer. And, a few people did respond to his email last Friday, but not everybody did. So I did suggest that they call anybody that we don't hear from in a day or so and just say, want to make sure you saw the charter. Are you still interested in volunteering? Eyes wide open, because now you've got the rules of the game. And then from there, we basically go through all the data and pick our top 7. Send your top 7 to Mike and Rajan and Kelly. We see where the overlaps are, and just try to drill it down. Okay. And then we don't want to make this uncomfortable or unfriendly or unkind by interviewing people and drilling them here. We're kind of hoping that we're going to put together a list of people that we would then move forward with. I know it's not pretty, and I am looking for suggestions, but that's kind of what we came up with at the time. So I did ask everybody in my email on Friday to think about it. What feels right, what feels transparent, what feels respectful. And I will say it right now, if you're volunteering or want to volunteer and you don't get chosen, I hope that you consider some of the other committees. Water Resources comes to mind. We are bringing in town water, so we're going to need very, very similar groups of people to come forward to help us with that. There's lots of other places that we could really use volunteers. So anyway, thoughts? What do you guys think?
I like it.
Yeah.
I know it's 9:30.
You got to give it more. Okay, so for us to send a list and then come in and there's a spreadsheet. These are the people that Kristen likes. These are the people that Dave likes. These are the people that we like. And then it's like, okay, how many of these people fit across? And just kind of like not necessarily in rank order, but just these are the people, and how many people appeared on the list. And then I think as you get to the end, you might say, well, okay, so these 2 people each had 3 people. And then at that point we have to talk about, okay, so what's the benefit of that individual? And that has to be done publicly.
I know.
Because, and so, I wanted this person because they come with these skills and they've done this, that, and the other thing, and so that's kind of how I envision it.
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. For you, what do you think?
No, I think I agree with Dave. I mean, we probably have to say why we chose those folks, and not that it's going to be really a difficult one, because the
so
resumes we
qualified.
got are
So good.
so good. It's almost like the fire chief one, when we had all great candidates. So it's going to be a hard decision, but we still have to boil it down, and it might be, as you said, what's needed for this fire station, what the town needs in terms of the expertise. And then we probably have other projects coming along, and we could probably even suggest that what they can help us if they are not part of this committee. Yeah, but we do have to probably say why we chose someone.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so what I heard you guys just say is we're each going to come in with our list.
No, we're going to send a list to Mike.
We're going to send the list to
And
Mike.
Mike's going to bring in, this is what all of you individually sent to me, unbeknownst to each of you who you selected.
Oh yeah, it's just to Mike. That's right.
It's just to
Rajan
Mike.
and Kelly.
So, and then the spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet will say, will speak for itself. And some people might make their way across all 5. Some people might make their way across 4, and we'll have to just sort of rank it like that. I can't think of a.
And
another
could
way.
it be also just throwing it out there, could it be ranked choice as well? Maybe sometimes 3 of us might have, whoever comes across the board obviously is going to be easy pick, right? And if there's 1 or 2 members that we do have to select, instead of making it more painful and more delaying the process, we could have it ranked choice. If 3 members chose and 2 others didn't, we'll go with that, as long as the board as a whole agrees with that. Like, I mean, I'll be okay with that,
Yeah.
if that's how it went.
Bob, what do you think?
Thoughts, Bob?
No, I agree. I like the idea of first ranking it and then based upon the ranking, we have to comment on it. As far as our individual ranking, I think that will come when we discuss it. If my first person is across all boards, okay, then that's
Yeah.
what it. But if my 5th choice, no one else is chosen, I'm not so sure I'm going to try to defend that person. And so it's like, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not going to rank them. It's just that these are my 5 choices, and that's just what it is. And then, I myself am not going to say, well, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to say these individuals are my 5 choices.
I don't think I was expecting ranks, Bob. What I'm saying is that, like, my 5, your 5 might agree
Yeah,
upon
right.
with the first, like, maybe 3 of them might fall in both our lists, right?
Sure, right.
And there might be 2 of them that doesn't fall in all 5 of our list, but might fall in 3 out of the 5.
That's right.
So if those 3 out of the 5, it's still a majority, then we would go with those 3, as opposed to,
Exactly.
I guess.
I know, I agree, and I agree.
just for process and procedure.
Right, because as I said, if one of my 5, and I'm just repeating myself,
Yeah.
if one of my 5 is I'm the only one that chose that person, well, I'm not going to try swaying the other 4 members of the committee of the board to support my one person. I'm not going to do it.
Okay, that
How
makes
many,
sense.
how many are you each sending me?
I think we should send 7,
Well,
because we have to see.
Wouldn't it be 5?
Okay, but we're talking, yeah, because we need to also have a select board person and
Well, no, the reason I'm
Finance.
saying, well, all right, Wes just said 5. I'm not a mathematician, but I was just thinking, because we're gonna do ranked, we might have a bigger chance of getting 3 or 4, like,
So when you say 7, does it include the select board member and the, so
Oh, I thought
excluding
that's
the
what you were
select
saying.
board and the FinCom, you want 7?
I'm just thinking that you read all the resumes and all the emails and all that. And Wes, help me out. You think this way better than I do. And that you bring forward 7 people that you think would be a great match for the committee. And they're not ranked 1 through 7. It's
Yeah.
just, here are 7 people that I think
yeah.
should be on the committee. And then that just allows the numbers to work. But Wes, help me out here.
When you do that, what you're effectively
Oh, talk
doing
louder,
is-
sorry. We can't
when
hear you
you
at all.
do that, what you're effectively doing by not, so if you did rank ordering where number 1 gets 7 and all the way back down to number 1, that's where you're throwing your points in. But when you have, if you're doing 7, but each one gets weighted as 1, you're actually you bubble up more of the bottom people that you may, or not necessarily bottom people, but it gives. Let me think of an easy way to say this, right? So if we have a group of 9 and we each get to pick 3, versus if we each get to pick 5, we're going to have a lot more people who may or may not have been a primary or first choice getting bubbled up because several people picked I'm not saying this like as if people pick them last, but when you have fewer, you get less creep, and it also forces you to pre-filter, right? So otherwise, it's kind of just saying you're either going group filtering and saying we hope that the general consensus of the group is fine, or do you want to go with your own individual? Because if you then,
So he's saying 5.
So you're saying 5?
If you're not going to do rank order, like personal rank order, meaning
No.
like
It's
one-
just, these are 5 people I think would be great on the committee.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
okay.
Yeah.
This is such a happy problem to have, but it's a problem. Matt, and then I'm going to bounce back and forth. Matt.
I've done this process with a number of committees of parents and teachers that are choosing finalists for a principal's job, for example, to give to the school committee. So I've done this many times. I would like to support what Wes was saying. If you each give Mike 7 names, you're going to have 15 to 18 names that you're going to have to deal with.
Okay.
My suggestion is 3. If you each give 3, as Wes said, You'll have less creep of going to your fifth person. If you only give three, I would predict that you would really like those three people. And I would also predict that you would not have more than 7 or 8 that you have to pick from. Otherwise, you're going to be discussing an awful lot of people.
I see what you're saying, yeah, still go to 3.
Yeah, okay. No, that makes good sense.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Mark Barbadero, I'm bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, so just a suggestion, but you may want to actually create a list of criteria and then just make a pass-fail or preferred, not preferred, or something like that, and then come up with some sort of organized metric. It might be an easier way. It also might soften the blow for a whole bunch of people who you're not even going to take past the first round. You're going to take 3 to 5 people, it sounds like, on your first round, and everybody else gets excluded and nobody knows why. So if you took another meeting maybe, or asked Michael to create a list, a checklist, and then just check the boxes at least to get the first round of people out of the way, and then decide from there. Might be a good idea. Anyways, have a good night.
You're talking about doing one round, though.
Yeah. Well,
I think the problem is that they all, from what the resumes I've seen, they all kind of have all the boxes checked already.
it's just such a well-qualified group. Okay, so speaking to what Mark was talking about, I kind of feel like the charter, because again, Mike is going to email the charter, or John or Kelly, someone's going to email the charter out and just confirm that they know there are 20-something. Are you still interested? Can you do this? Now, the new charter actually does kind of say what we're looking for: team-oriented, representative of the community, diverse in nature, and possibly also have current or prior background in such fields as ba 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 ba. So I kind of feel like the charter does say what we're looking for. And again, it gets back to, I have no way of evaluating subjective things, such as how well do you play with a team. I don't know. I'm going to go with what you sent me in writing. So I do respect what you're saying, Mark, but I think it's all here, and I think we do want to try to do it in one round because we've got to hire an OPM. I mean, we have to keep this moving. If for some reason we don't come to an agreement on a 5-member board on Monday, that's one thing. But if we can come to an agreement, I think we should.
So, Kristen, do you want 3 names or 5?
I'm not a mathematician. I don't know.
I understand what Mac was saying. What Mac was saying is that because if I come in with 3 names and Priya comes in with another 3 names, you're automatically at 6. If we all come in with 5, it just goes. Whoosh.
I know.
Yeah, but okay, right, but if each, there's 25 possibilities, right? So. If I do it 5, I would go with 30. I would go with 35. I mean, we sort of know who the FinCom person is going to be, but it's kind of like it's like, okay, how many votes did that person get? I mean, in my mind, it's pretty simple. You just kind of go down the line, and if there's 2 that are equal or 3 that are equal, then you talk it through. You say, okay, why did you vote for this person? Well, he or she did this, and I'm very confident in this, and they have this skill. I mean, I think it's okay to sort of talk it through. Like your idea of, well, you're the only one to put a single person forward. I would want to hear why you put that person forward. Maybe you know something I don't know, and you could convince me, yeah, no, that person should be. You know what I mean? So I'm okay with that.
I'm just afraid that's going to really draw out the process.
But I don't know how it could draw it out.
I tend to agree with what Mr. Mac and Wes was saying. If you send in 3, you're sending in your highest priority 3, and you're going to come up with at least 7 candidates, because I doubt if you're all going to come up with the same 3. You have a wide range of capabilities. You can't go wrong with anyone you pick out of the 24. I'm sure of that, and I think you're gonna come
For
up with a really
context,
strong.
I was just picking 3 as an example using.
Wes, we can't
friendly
hear
numbers.
you. We can kind
I'm
of, but
literally
we can't.
sitting like this with my microphone.
Ah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's better.
That was actually better. Oh, you were mocking, okay. Go ahead, what were you saying?
There we go. Hold on. So I was saying, I just wanted to provide context that I only used 3 as an example, not necessarily because to simplify it, saying like 3 out of 9. Not that I was proposing 3, but that was just part of the example.
Okay.
But I was saying 5. Initially, I had said 5. I'm not opposed to 3, but my thinking between the 3 and 5 would be that if you're proposing, for example, 5 people, then you would have, so if you do 3, then you're effectively putting your weight behind one person, which then allows. I see the benefits of 3 as well, because you effectively say these are the 3 people that I would really want. However, that also then takes away your ability to potentially contribute to numbers 4 and 5.
How about if we send our top 3 to Mike by Wednesday? And if Mike says, well, Mike needs time to reach out to everybody.
Yeah.
But what if we send our top 3, and if it doesn't come up with 5 committee, Mike says, send me 2 more?
I just have one question. Does that 3 include the select board member? And
No.
No.
Okay, I just
3
needed
not
to know that.
including FinCom or select board.
Okay.
Why?
Because the FinCom gets to pick theirs, not
Yeah,
us.
right.
And because we get to pick which one.
Which one? Yeah.
Not,
So why
But
would
it's
that be part of it?
because it's a foregone conclusion that one of us is going to be it, and it's not gonna be me, I can tell you right now. So.
It's not gonna be me,
It's
but.
not gonna be you. So-
But
so-
2 people have expressed interest in it, so it's kinda like, we have to say which one.
I think we do that separately, and that the 2 people that have expressed interest have a discussion about it, maybe. But I think the select board stays out of it, because otherwise,
Okay.
otherwise, by default, one of your people is a select board member, and
Okay.
we're never gonna get there.
Yeah.
You have got your hand up, hi. You've been so patient.
Good evening.
Yes.
Yeah, we heard you, we heard you.
Good evening. My name is Tim Baker. I'm in Paddock Lane up here, new transplant from Kansas City.
Oh, how do you feel about this?
Well, I grew up in upstate New York, so this is,
Oh, okay, then we're fine.
so this is fine. Since Mr. Johns has the list of the 20-ish people, you have an Excel spreadsheet with the names, and at the top, pick 7 criterias that you're looking for. So and then send it out. You don't have to vote for every person on the list, because you've read the resumes, you've read the emails, and then check the boxes. If you feel that they fit 4 of those qualifications, then they get a 4 at the end of that. And that way you can kind of, in your own mind, each one of you can justify, okay, this person reading it scored a 4, this one scored a 5, this one scored a 3, and then you can be subjective from there, submit it back to Mr. John, and then compile which ones overlap enough to see if you have 5, 7, or 9, and then pare it down from there, almost like a bid tabulation sheet, if you're looking for that. So that would be my recommendation.
But, quick question, if we gave one person, if they have 5 criteria, 7 criteria, if there's 7 criteria, do we show Mike the 7, that we gave that person a 7, or do we just say?
No, he could send out that list and you show that you gave them a 7 or you gave them a 4. All you gotta do is, if you have 7 criteria up there, in each box, you just put a check mark, and it'll add up how many of the criteria you felt that they qualified for to give you a score at the end. And then that way, everybody has a chance to fit within that parameter.
Okay.
I see what you're saying. It also helps organize our thoughts and takes away the subjective and makes it more objective. If we're looking
Yeah.
at whatever the criteria are. We
Whatever
can pull it
you're-
out of the charter, we can add to it.
You're looking at certain qualifications because you're trying to build a fire department. Within that, I know public input is good. I'm part of the public, but at the same time, it's not about the people within the community. It's about supporting and protecting the community. And I'm not sure if you've already picked an architect, because that's going to be your big thing. From where I've come from and what I've done, looking at smaller fire stations that were destroyed and have to be rebuilt, the architect was chosen, and then they said, okay, your old fire station was not up to code. You have an apparatus that's this big, it needs this much space around it, and you have so many personnel, they need so much space, especially if you have them sleeping over. I haven't
all of the above are true.
No,
You've
that's all
clearly
true.
been
No, that's
reading
all
all the
true.
stuff.
So now you have the basis of your actual limited square footage, not your maximum, but your minimum square footage that you can have.
Yep.
Once you know that, then you take that and made it to prospective locations, and then you match the size of that, egress, ingress, and then response times from that location are going to be critical. So really like to see the architect, because the architect that you choose is going to have all of the codes and standards required for fire departments. They're going to be specialized in it. So that will give you the basis that then your OPM is going to run how you want to go with this and go forward. But that's going to be huge. And it might come down to the only thing you have is the fire department you got now, and just make it bigger there. We don't know, won't know until you get to that point of how big do you have to be with the apparatus you have, and is there a requirement to go to the next size at any given time. So there's factors that are going to have to be hashed out, and that's part of when this all came about. That's why I threw my name in the hat. Just I'm concerned, and maybe concerned is a little too harsh, but I want to know that we are giving the firefighters what they need. I don't want to cut corners. We can save $1,000 here if we don't do this, but if that's something that's going to benefit them, if it makes them 30 seconds faster, that's huge. If we can get them 3 minutes faster, God bless them. But that's what I don't want to start looking at it and having the public, well, we're spending too much money. We can't not spend money on public safety in that realm. And if we have the best fire department, then when residents go back to their insurance companies for fire, insurance coverage, yes, our fire department has the latest apparatus and they can respond, this much faster to my location. So their premiums will come down, which is a benefit to them.
So your analogy to us figuring out the right people on the board is by creating a rubric, and the analogy is how you would choose an architect and to figure out what we need for a fire station by figuring out what's the most important and going from there.
Yes.
Okay, I'm with it.
If you like his idea, I know exactly where he's going. I can create that matrix,
I'd love that.
send it to the 5 of you, and then you don't have to send me the matrix back. You just send me back
Use the matrix.
the names that you got from using the matrix. You're using it as a tool. Is that what? I think that's what you're suggesting. That
Yes, I'm basing that on how, in my organization, when we interview and hire people.
Right.
We ask them 7 questions. How did they respond to those 7 questions? And we rank them 1 to 5, and then we can add it up and we can tally that and say, okay, of what we've asked them, they responded with an answer that we graded, and it allowed us to pick the best person. We're not trying to push anybody out, but we need to make sure we have the right person in that slot, because we're going forward and we're going to be training those people. On my job, I'm going to be spending 2 years training them, getting them up to speed. I want the best I can get. In this realm, here's listening to Lee. I like what he's bringing to the table. It's fantastic, and I'm sure that as you go through the list, you're going to see names that you recognize or things within their resumes and their emails back to you where they're going to fit, making this a positive process for the community to get this really moving. I don't know what your timeline is to get a shovel in the ground, but
super fast.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it sounds like you've already read quite a bit, but we need to build a fire station quickly. I don't want to say any more than that.
But we
yes.
need to make sure it's what they need
Right.
and what's going to fit their needs and their future.
Right. Well, and again, you kind of nailed it in the middle there when you said we have to build a fire station. Like overarching, you know, that's the main goal, is get the fire station, get the shovel in the ground, get it built, and do the best we can. All right, I think we understand. Welcome to Boxborough, and thank you for raising your
Thank
hand.
you.
That's pretty awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Mark M. We have to unmute you, hold on.
Hi, thank you.
I
Oh,
think,
talk
everything-
louder, sorry.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Now we got you.
Okay, great. I think everything I've heard was great. One suggestion I have, just a suggestion, is to send each candidate, I know you're going to communicate with candidates anyways who are interested, see if they're still interested, and ask them if they're interested to self-rank or self-identify on that criteria that you will come up with, on where they see themselves, and then that will aid you in, selection, because, there may be somebody there that nobody knows, they may be very awesome, and be ashamed to miss, so give people a chance to give a self-eval on that criteria, and that probably will help the team there with their selection.
Great.
I like that idea, that if you send that out and say this is how, I know we're trying to do this all in a week, but I do think that's kind of cool, because Mark M. is right. I don't know half the people on the list. I could be standing next to you at Roach Brothers and I don't know you, and that's good, because I'm reading, I'm learning about you, and I don't have any preconceived notions. That it's great, so I do like that idea. All right.
That's fine.
No pressure.
No, that's easy. We can definitely.
Look at him,
do
he's
that.
like, oh, it's easy, it's fine.
Well, the other thing
I'm going to
is,
be closing my door to my office tomorrow.
the other thing is that a lot of people sent in resumes. We said it wasn't required.
Yeah.
I think it's as I looked at everything that came in, I'm not making any decision, but I found it helpful because some people I knew, some people I didn't. The ones that I didn't and had never met and didn't know what they did for an occupation, I thought if I was a board member, that would have been helpful to me to at least see, oh, this is what that person has done in their occupation, and this is the project that they've worked on. I would think that, so what I'm saying is I could remind people as I send that out that it's not too late. You've already indicated you're interested. If you would like, you can still send in
Yeah.
a resume.
Yeah.
If you think that's helpful to you.
Or maybe it's not even so formal as a resume, just, a letter of interest and why you're interested.
Well, see, that's where I was going to say no. I think a letter of interest is different than a resume. I think a letter of interest is going to go also why they want to be on this.
Right.
I think a resume is going to say, do they have the qualifications to be on this?
Right, I know, but
the work-
read the qualifications: diversity, representative of the community, et cetera, I guess I'm just concerned. I don't have a resume. If you told me, Kristen, I need a resume tomorrow, I would have to go home and make one up.
Well, yeah, okay.
So
I hear you.
I don't want to do that to anybody.
Well, maybe I do want to do that, because if they want to be on this committee, they need to put a little bit of interest in it.
I will tell you that
Okay.
there are several people who sent in an email that had enough content in it for me to see that they have the experience in projects, et cetera. So I don't think it needs to necessarily be as formal as a resume,
No, correct.
if the content is there.
I mean, if they want to be on it, this is not nice to have. I think we need to understand what they bring to the table.
I think if anything happened tonight in the last 3 hours we've been talking, is this is a big deal.
Oh, it is,
It's
absolutely.
a really big deal, and we want to get it right.
Right, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I think we
Yeah.
need to see the qualifications of the people.
Maria, I heard you do a deep breath.
You know me pretty well.
That's my mom.
So
My mom
I'm with
instincts.
Kristen. I don't have a resume. You've known me for 20 years. For me to put together a resume, could probably do it. It would take me more than 24 hours.
Yeah,
I own my own business. I got my own real estate. What?
But Maria, you just said it. I know I've known you for 20 years. Some of these people, I don't know if they're sitting next to me.
I understand, but I just think it's, if you can do in a cover letter, so that you can, you have a week. You're asking these people now who maybe didn't send a resume to send a resume. If they've put the information in a cover letter, if I send you a cover letter and it's 2 pages long and it just says all of the things, and you don't know me, now you're 20 years
great.
later, you don't know me.
That's fine.
But, I think that's important. I don't think you should qualify it as a resume. I think you just need to put your qualifications and your interest and your
And what you can bring.
reason.
I agree.
What do you bring to the table?
And I agree, that's all I'm saying. I'm
Okay.
not looking for a formal resume. I'm saying, if you have a formal resume.
That's not what I heard, Bob. What I heard is you were looking for a formal resume.
No, I'm
so-
sorry, okay, so let me clarify my point.
They were on the board together at one point.
So I'm not looking for a formal resume. What I'm looking for from all the people that are interested is their qualification. If you give it to me, if you give it to us in the form of a cover letter, perfect. That's all I'm looking for. I just don't want a one-line paragraph. Oh, I've lived in town for 25 years, and I would be really interested in being on the building committee. That doesn't do it for me. I want to see qualification. It doesn't have to be a formal resume. No, I apologize if I let that off. I don't. It doesn't have to.
You know what might happen? I mean, if you put together the matrix and you say, these are the 7 things the select board are going to be looking at, you know, and that kind of creates what Bob is saying. I have to wonder if there will be some attrition when people look at it and say, oh God, there's homework already. But the attrition to me is kind of okay, because if you're not willing to put the work in now, how much are you going to participate when you're really putting the work in? And I don't know if I'm expressing myself well. Wes,
Yeah.
I'm driving Wes crazy. Yep.
We have one hand.
Wes, what?
I don't necessarily agree. I am of the mindset that we've asked them to express their interest. From what I've seen, everyone who is not like a known entity has expressed their experience and or qualifications to some point.
Yeah.
People could be on vacation this week, and then they get excluded because they don't respond within a week, and it wasn't a part of the initial ask for when we said, please express your interest.
Fair enough.
And
And Mike
so
is going to
that's
follow up with
why
phone calls. Yep.
I'm, even still, like if I'm in Aruba, I'm probably not going to pick up the phone from a unknown number, and people might not have, like I've actually, this has happened. Kelly's called me from town hall and it says suspected spam, and I ignore it.
Kelly,
Because-
you're spam.
And so I guess I'm just, if you're, literally this kind of also reflects poorly on us if we're just kind of saying, okay, this week you do this, now next week you do that, and it's like,
Fair enough.
that's, I see it as kind of just looking disheveled, or given the appearance of disheveled and not forethinking and saying, okay, do this for me. It's kind of like applying for a mortgage where you don't hear anything and then say, I need this from you by tomorrow. And
Yep,
that's
fair
not a
enough.
fun time.
We do have good information about from most people who expressed interest. So, yeah.
Mark has.
You got a bunch of.
Mark M. Thank you.
So,
Lead in.
okay, sorry, I totally get everybody's concern, I think it's justified, I think you could scare, turn off a lot of volunteers if you start asking for more information, that's unreasonable, but also the people ranking their own kind of strengths and weaknesses, if you couch that with the idea that you're building a team and that there's lots of slots and that, not everybody's gonna have, the same expertise, or they're not gonna bring the same thing. As long as everybody knows that you're trying to build a team and when you're doing your selection, you try to build that team with that diversity in mind of, diversity of skills and, and interests and, strengths and weaknesses so that everybody kind of plays upon each other. I think you'll come up with something good. I think if you ask everybody to, this is the reason why I should win this job, then, it's kind of competitive, and I think this is not really in the spirit, of, joining this team, where you want to have collaboration and teamwork. So that's would be my suggestion, and I think that would be, that would come out with you communicated with, like, we're looking for these kind of skills, but know that if you don't have a particular strength, it doesn't be excluded. We're looking to build a team with a diverse set of skills.
So I think what I heard you say in a kindergarten version is keep it simple.
Yeah.
Well, I'm drilling, I was a kindergarten teacher, drilling it down. Keep it simple, don't overcomplicate it, use what we have, go from there. That's what I heard. What did you all hear? Wrap it up, that's what I heard. Okay,
Wrap it
all
up and don't
righty.
make
So,
Mike do the matrix
don't
thing.
make Mike do a matrix.
No.
No, a matrix for us, you need to do a matrix for us, but not for volunteers.
that's
Okay,
fine.
okay, you okay with that?
Yeah,
So half a
absolutely.
matrix.
I'm fine with either.
Matrix for half the population.
Yeah.
All right, okay. All right, so we have 3 and 5 on the table. I took my 7 off. That was really just because it's hard to choose because we have so many awesome people. 3 or 5 people to move forward.
I say
On the
5.
list.
To give Mike, are you going to send 3 or 5 people? Because both those numbers were bandied about.
You haven't talked about 4.
Personally- Huh?
You haven't talked about 4.
It was not bandied.
It's right in the middle.
That's-
I'm throwing it in there.
Okay. Mr. Compromise says 4.
No, you just tell me the number. That's
We're
what we're gonna
punching.
do.
I just need something, you guys.
Yeah, so, okay, I think that, I mean, different people bring different stuff to the table, so to just have 3, then that 4th person who brings that piece that I think is important falls off, so I don't think 3 is not a number that I'm in favor of.
So 3 is too limiting.
I think 3 is too limiting.
Okay.
I think there's, I'm looking at different people for different reasons, so I'm more inclined to go with 5, but I'll go with whatever the board decides. You just tell me, I can pick, I can.
Priya, 3 or 5?
All right. Can we do the compromise and do the 4?
Bob, 3 or 5 or 4?
I'm gonna go with the 3.
Wes?
5.
I'm
said
5. So we have 3 5s, a 4, and a 3.
I'll
So
go with
5.
Wait, how'd you get
Fine.
3 5s?
The 3 of us are 5.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
4 and 3.
Fine.
All right. So we're gonna. So you're not Mark. You're Mike. Mike is gonna make us a matrix. We're gonna do the exercise. You do not share it with anybody. That is your personal exercise, and then you send your top 5 to Mike.
Not FinCom and not.
Not FinCom and not Select Board. The FinCom will
Okay,
pick
yep,
their
yep.
person,
I'm good with that.
and we are gonna pick ours. Okay.
Yep,
Sounds good.
sounds good.
Any questions, comments, thoughts? Everyone is hung in. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. All right, moving on. Okay, appointments. We have a few people to appoint. Wait a minute, where's the school budget? Oh, it's all the way at the bottom. Can we just take the school budget out of order? Because I don't think any of the people being appointed are here. And then Tony and Maria can go home. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We really, really appreciate it. Okay, so let's jump to the school budget. So we received a letter. Now this about issues with the assessment. Now, if anybody noticed, they kind of went back to the number that they started with that we didn't particularly like. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I read it really quickly and I immediately zoned in on the above net's a $0 change in assessment. And I thought, all right, if it's not gonna cost us anymore, I'm okay. However, there's long-term impact to this. So at any rate, I don't know who wants to walk us through this first. You guys?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was surprised to get the letter, so I'm sort of new to this process, so,
I don't know that we've ever gotten a letter like this before.
Yeah.
We have, okay.
Multiple times.
Oh.
Usually small dollars.
Oh, okay.
Less than 50 grand.
Okay, because I was saying, I'm not 1.7.
and it's also surprising to me that they could, find this money in the budget, it sounded like, having been such a tight process last year. But I'll defer to Maria, because she's looked into it a little bit more with Adam and the school committee, so I'll let Maria speak to this.
Okay, so what essentially this letter does, they started this year with their ask, their level service ask was 117.3 million. They ended up getting at ATM was 114.3 million. And now this would bring their FY25 budget up to $116 million. So just slightly under what their original ask was. And the way this is worded is that's what they would bring their FY25 budget up to. They would fund it through reserves, so there'd be no assessment. So the towns don't need to technically vote on this because there's no assessment, right? We vote on the assessment, not the budget. And they're doing this for a one-time, effectively, it's a one-time expenditure to the health insurance trust. They need a budget expenditure to be able to pay the health insurance trust, right? That's state law. They can't cut a check to the health insurance trust without a budget expenditure. But it's a one-time expense that they're taking out of reserves. So they could do that, $1.7 million, and then decrease the budget back to what both ATMs voted, which was $114 million. Does that make sense so far? I want to make sure before I keep going. Okay. The concern that we should have is that if they don't reduce that number down, they've effectively increased their budget by $1.7 million with no oversights from the town, and we start next year at, instead of a $114 million school budget, they end up starting at $116 million. So rough math, back of the napkin kind of, $1.7 million increase in the budget is about 18%, because I don't know what the enrollment is and all of that, is a $300,000 increase to our assessment to get to zero. So do we all understand that concern? I reached out to Adam, because this happened before Tony became chair and he was out of the country, and reached out to Adam and said, are you bringing this back down? What was the discussion? The discussion was done at their workshop. It is not on any video, so I don't know what the discussion was. I did ask specifically, is the intention to pay this and then start the budget year off for FY26 at the $114 million? He said that was not part of the discussion that they had. FinCom has not discussed this. I plan to bring this up tomorrow night at our meeting. I've asked Tony to put it on the agenda. I think they should discuss it, and I think it's disingenuous to say to the towns, we don't have the money, we're tight, we're doing an override, we don't have any extra reserves, but they found 1.6 million. The other concern should be, they voted this on June 24th. On June 24th, the finance director should have had some idea of what the turnback was going to be to the district. So they take $1.7 million, because $1.699 million, out of reserves to fund into the FY25 budget. If there was a $250,000 turnback, they could have funded $250,000 out of this year and then the balance out of next year. There's other ways to do it, but we didn't get any information on the turnback either. So, basically they said to us, we can't use any more E&D during the budget process because they didn't have enough money, but they were able to find 1.7 million. So I'm not sure how either committee wants to do this. My suggestion to FinCom tomorrow night is going to be that a really strongly worded letter to the administration saying we'd like more answers is what should happen from the finance committee, but does that come from both committees? That's between the chairs.
So one of my questions, and maybe someone here will remember, is the E&D they prefer to maintain at a certain level. They did not take as much out of E&D to leave it. So they didn't find it. They've just further reduced E&D, which will then have to be backfilled next year, correct?
Well, yes, but we don't know what the turnback was. So the E&D level, generally you want to keep at a minimum of 3%. You can only max out at 5% statewide.
Yeah,
so
I
the state has the
5%,
max
yep.
at 5%.
Yeah.
You want to be around 3%. They were under that. But we also don't know, did they turn back $10,000? Because it goes back, we put it back into free cash, right? They put it into E&D. Was it 300,000, 500,000, $1 million? We don't know what was turned back because that hasn't been discussed yet. They should know. They should have known in May what was going to get turned back.
Well, it's July, so they know now.
They should know now. And I think those are more answers that we need to get.
Can I put you on the spot? Do you have any experience with all of this? Okay. Didn't mean to. I just. Well, you're going to learn really fast. You're going to be Maria's new best friend. Okay, because I guess my immediate question was, okay, so now your E&D is probably down at 1%. Are you gonna try to backfill it back to 3%? I agree with you. So I don't disagree that there is not enough information here for the town of Boxborough to understand the dynamics and what impact it's gonna have in the future. And I guess I would leave it to the FinCom to put that list of questions together.
Yeah, I agree. I think what it is, there's a list of things we don't know, so we can ask those questions. There's still time for the select board to sort of reject this. So I think we formulate the questions and put them back to the school committee, and then based on those answers, we either the select board either say yes or no to that letter.
And then you would bring that to us saying you agree,
Yeah.
or you would recommend that we do not agree?
Yeah, we'll come back with our assessment of what the answers are we got from the school committee.
Okay.
So here's a question. If the district is not notified within 45 days, approval is automatic. Well, if we immediately started discussion within 1 week of receiving this, is the clock still ticking? Because we've started a discussion. Like, I don't know if that's a
Well, my
statutory
read of
thing.
that
And
was
I don't know
that
if you have that answer.
we
My
have
feeling
45
is,
days.
like, what if they take a month to get us the answers to what you've asked, and then we're at day 43?
Oh, they're gonna run the clock out?
Right,
Oh,
well, if they run the clock out,
If they run the
thank
clock
you.
out, yeah. Well, I think then I think if we don't get an answer within a satisfactory time, then we say no. I would
And
say.
we call a special town meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other thing you do is you send a letter tomorrow as the chair of the select board says, FinCom's gonna be asking questions, we'll make our decision
After we get the
the answers,
That's a
and we
great
expect
idea.
the answers well within the 45-day period.
Yeah, that's a
I
great
mean, that's
idea.
what I would do.
That's a great idea.
Sorry, it's getting late.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I would do. And then that would at least put them on notice. And I think Adam already understands that there is at least one FinCom member who straight out has got real concerns about this and is not okay with it and was gonna bring it forward to the FinCom and probably the select board. So they've gotta already have some idea that this is a concern.
So if we can, I'm throwing this out, we haven't fully discussed it yet, but we can send a letter saying that the Boxborough Select Board doesn't feel that we have enough information to make a decision, we'd like to start a conversation, the Finance Committee will be in touch with questions, and we expect an answer in a timely fashion.
That's it.
Kristen, I just want to say, this feels very, like, disingenuous.
You got
I
it.
feel like if they had the money, like they kept saying all along, no. And now they're bringing it back up from 114 million to 116 million, and it cannot be the base budget. It just cannot be. I will vote it down right now. I will tell, I want to make it clear to everybody. It cannot be the case.
So at the very least, we want some kind of guarantee that that next year during the budget process, they're starting at 114.
Four, yes.
Not 116. So perhaps that can be part of the,
One of the questions, I think. Yeah.
yeah, that'll be one of the questions.
It's a one-time expenditure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so it should
Not
not
ongoing.
automatically
Yeah,
raise the budget.
it can be. It's almost like, we're giving a bonus for someone, and then next year, that becomes part of their salary.
Right,
Now,
that's
it can be.
Right,
And-
they're
and
calling it
please-
a budget amendment. Okay.
Right, and keep in mind, the way it's written, the motion and the way it was read and what voted, it increased the budget to the 116 million.
Because that's not what the town voted.
No. And the other thing is they're going into budget
Oh,
negotiations.
God, yeah, the changes result in a revised
Yeah.
budget of, so
Yeah.
no, that's not the base for next year, kids, sorry, it's not.
And they're going into contract negotiations. So you have to keep all of this in mind as we understand that we can't start at a deficit to get to zero because they're already talking about a 9% increase or a 7% increase, so.
Right.
So, okay.
Maria or Tony, have you had any contact from the Acton FinCom? Have they seen these?
No.
Well, they've seen it because it was sent to the select board and Acton and FinCom.
I'm sorry, well, they've seen it, right,
Yes.
they've seen it, but you haven't talked to them?
No.
Any idea what Acton is gonna do with this, because,
I don't know.
We shouldn't
I said
say.
I don't
Okay,
know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Maria, I respect you.
I would like to know what derogatory comments might or might not be made about Boxborough at the next joint meeting, but whatever.
Okay. Derogatory statements are earned.
All right, so we'll send that letter tomorrow. I'm comfortable with you signing it, unless you want me to sign it. I don't know that it needs to come from me per se, but that the select board discussed it. Wes, you haven't had a chance to weigh in, sorry.
I don't really have anything strong to add to this.
Louder, louder.
I don't have anything substantial to add that's not already been said.
Okay. Is everyone okay with a strongly worded letter?
Yes.
I'd like to understand why they didn't know about this before. It's like they came to us and they said, this is what the trust is gonna need. It's like, oh, well, wait a second, actually, the trust is gonna, it's like,
Well, this is the whole thing. This-
who's minding the store?
Right, this started, when I was on FinCom, this is what we were saying all along. It's like, all of a sudden, they come up with these numbers, and it's like, they change them dramatically every single time you talk to them.
Yeah.
And it starts here, and we end up here. So that, you know, we don't really know what's happening during this whole chain of events. You know, I feel like we're not dealing with the root of the problem. You know, we're sort of addressing the symptom, but not the disease.
I mean, the root of the problem is, like, they wanted the 117 million, and they are getting it right there.
Well, I see that as a symptom, though,
And
but
that's
it's like,
what it is.
But
It's
they
just
should
that
have
they
said
come
we
up
need
with a
more
different
money
way.
for the trust than what they asked for.
That's what it is.
So anyway, okay.
Yeah, because if the trust has to be paid no matter what, they knew the trust had to be paid no matter what. I guess one of my questions is, was this an unanticipated expense? How long have you known about this number?
Right,
I'd
and
be a
why
little
didn't you plan
curious.
for it? Why didn't
Because
you
if
plan
you've
for it?
always, because again, getting back to Priya, if what Priya is asserting is the truth, then 100% disingenuous. If you've always known you needed this money, you should have just asked for it in the beginning and let the chips fall where they may.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kristen, the only thing I can tell you is when we were questioning the administration about the health insurance trust, the FinCom did ask pointedly, do you have a cash flow estimate for the rest of the year for the health insurance trust? And we were told by the administration, the school administration, it's not our committee. 70% of the people in the trust are school employees. And you're responsible for 70% of whatever the shortfall is. So they should have, again, it's the same thing that happened last fall. They should have seen this coming. And if they saw it coming, they should have warned us earlier. And certainly, within a month of the town meetings, we should have been able to see this coming and vote it properly at town meetings. That's my opinion, based on, you know, a lot of experience with the schools. So.
It's, Dave, to your comment, it's like they have blinders on or something, or they're not looking at the root cause. Every time they go to work, it's like, oh, we found a new problem, oh, we found a new problem, oh, we found a new problem. It's like, really, seriously? I mean, have you guys taken any accounting courses? I mean, come on.
Right, yeah, I don't get it. And so there's so many layers between us and them
Right.
that we don't even know. We don't know how they're making these decisions, except we gotta pull off the checkbook anytime it comes down our way, you know, so. I mean, they should be Boxborough people. I mean, and Marie has mentioned this before, that we used to have Boxborough representation on
Mary
that.
Brolin was the chair of the Health Insurance Trust for many years. They never had a shortfall. They were really in good shape when Mary Brolin was in charge of it. That said, you know, this is going away this year. They're going to GIC maybe? Maya? I don't remember.
So does that start?
So
No.
that
Not
starts
Maya.
June
I'm not
1st,
sure.
but there's a
Not
buy
sure.
down. We've budgeted for our buy down in Boxborough. We had a buy down as
Yeah.
well.
Right,
So
and we
we're
got
not-
the information from Rajan. We got the information. How do they not get the information from somebody in town?
I don't disagree with you, but we now have to deal with the shortfall, right? So there is a memo that I will dig out that was given to the school committee that we didn't receive, but I kind of dug through their package and found, I'll send to you guys, so from the Health Insurance Trust, so you can
Yeah.
read about it. It's neither here nor there. They need to be
Yeah.
paid. The school's obligated to pay it. The bottom line is, the only thing we need is to make sure that FY '26 starts where town meeting ended.
Ended, yes.
Right.
That's what we need to make sure of.
Yep.
That, you know, they need to pay it, they need to do it this way, this is the legal way to do it. But they need to start at 114 million, is my opinion. And, you know, FinCom will discuss it tomorrow night.
All right?
If that letter you're talking about has any relevance to the letter I'm drafting tomorrow, can you send that to me as well?
I'll send it to you just as a backup, yeah, I'll send it out tonight, and when I'll go home, I'll search for it. It is just a memo from the Health Insurance Trust to the school committee.
Okay.
It doesn't explain the turn back and all the rest of it, because that's not been brought forward yet, so.
Okay.
Okay?
All right,
All
thanks.
righty. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Maria. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. All right, we're almost done here. It is late. Okay, we have some appointments. I'm just gonna start moving through. I move to appoint Brenda Martinez to the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee with a term ending on June 30th, 2027.
I'll second that.
Wes, did you want to second that?
No, you can.
Okay, I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Roll call vote. Wes?
Folks, aye.
Bob?
Stemple, aye.
Priya?
Sundaram, aye.
Dave?
McKinnon, aye.
Hilberg, aye. I move to appoint Nick Huang to the Taekwondo program as Specialty Instructor Level 1 for a term ending June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Is this the existing program we have in town, or what is this, the Taekwondo program?
That is, I believe that's
It is.
existing.
It's under the
RecCom
RecCom.
program.
It's under the RecCom, okay.
Yeah, it's got really great participation.
Yep.
Roll call vote. Wes?
Folks, aye.
Bob?
Stemple, aye.
Priya?
Sundaram, aye.
Dave?
McKinnon, aye.
Hilberg, aye.
I'm gonna take this personal. so-
No!
No, it's because
Hey, at least I
Wes,
call you Mark. I
Priya-
called him Mark.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
how we used to sit.
I move to appoint Kevin Y to the Taekwondo program as Specialty Instructor Level 1 for a term ending June 30th,
Didn't you just
2025.
do this?
Kevin, I'm sorry if it's we or Y, I'm not sure.
Away.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, let's see, no, I'm tired. Wes, roll call vote.
Folks, aye.
Bob,
Stemple, aye.
Priya,
Sundaram, aye.
Dave,
McKinnon, aye.
Hilberg, aye. Okay, Flora Summer Program. I move to appoint Zachary Layton to the Flora Summer Program for a term ending June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Roll call vote. Wes,
Get her used to me.
Folks, aye.
Bob,
Stemple, aye.
Priya,
Sundaram, aye.
Dave,
McKinnon, aye.
and Hilberg, aye. I move to appoint Maura Hashem to the Flora Summer Program for a term ending June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Roll call vote. Wes,
Folks, aye.
Bob,
Stemple, aye.
Priya,
Sundaram, aye.
Dave,
McKinnon, aye.
and Hilberg, aye. We already did the regional school district budget.
One
What?
note.
Oh, sure.
So I'm gonna be looking at which appointments the select board needs to make, because I'm not sure that these last 4 appointments you just made, you need to make.
Because they're employees, aren't they?
They're employees, and, you know, this came in front of me too late that I didn't want, in case you need to make these appointments, I
Sure.
wanted to do it because it can never hurt for you to do it.
Right.
But I think there are some appointments the board has been making that it doesn't need to, that can be done administratively. So we're gonna sort that out over the next several months.
Awesome.
And hopefully clean that up and make it a little more efficient for you. Because clearly, like the DEI committee appointment, that's definitely a
Yes.
select board appointment. But these other ones, I think that we could do those administrative. But I'll get back to you over the summer with, a little
Thanks.
more
Or
information on that.
Not even bother, just next year at appointments say, oh, and by the way, we don't have to appoint employees.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna
Yeah.
be the case
I think
for
you're gonna have
many
other
of
stuff to
them.
do this summer.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
All right. No, I did wonder about that because I'm like, they're all employees.
Yeah.
Okay, approval of the state primary warrant. Election is September 3rd, 2024. Any information beyond just approving the warrant?
Nothing other than what was supplied in your packet by the town clerk.
All right. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about that?
Similar to what we
I
had
do
in
not.
the.
I didn't either.
Yep.
I mean, it is what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. I move to approve the September 3rd, 2024 state primary warrant as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Wes?
Folks, aye.
Bob?
Stemple, aye.
Priya?
Sundaram, aye.
Dave?
McKinnon, aye.
Hilberg, aye. Okay, vote to consider reducing the in-person early voting hours for the state primary. So I know we had a lot of discussion about this for the last one. Any discussion now?
So this is already in the,
This was the one that Becky came in.
Yeah, an
Yeah,
advocated
an
for, but we have
advocate,
to,
yeah.
now we have to do it for the 2024 state primary. That's what I was saying, we did have a long discussion, we approved it before.
Yep.
But we could certainly discuss it again if anyone has questions or concerns.
no, I don't have any, well, I guess my only question is, didn't we cover it by what we just voted on?
That's for the primary, and this is for like
But
the
Well,
isn't
one
that
is the
the same for
warrant,
the
and
state?
now, we're talking about voting
This is
hours
the
now.
Early voting
voting,
hours.
Voting
voting
hours.
hours.
But
Yeah.
Which is what this is.
Isn't this the
which
same
is
as the
what-
No, the
presidential?
warrant isn't.
Yeah, I
What's
guess
that,
the
Wes?
warrant is
Talk
separate.
louder, Wes.
Go ahead.
Isn't this the same as the presidential?
Yes.
So before she said we weren't going to reduce it because it wasn't the presidential, and now she's asking again to reduce it.
Becky is what you're saying,
Yes.
Wes.
Yes.
But it's,
I guess I will say I have zero desire to reduce voting hours for presidential primaries as well as, like, because
This is the state
it'd be the same
primary,
day,
it's
right?
not the presidential
Yeah,
primary, it's
but
the state primary.
doesn't the presidential primary, hold on, what dates are those?
No. Because this is,
We already had that, didn't we?
September 3rd. So we don't, so this is the state, all right, so are you looking that up?
I've got what she sent us, and the president's not on here, it's the Senate, it's the.
Okay, so it's March 5th
Right.
was the presidential one.
yeah, it's
So you,
already
Wes,
done.
are you okay with this then?
I actually think that the state primaries are almost more important than the presidential ones, to be honest. I'm not okay with it, because we also, I've also asked for numbers of how many votes we've gotten before during this time, and all they just ask
Should
is,
we
please let us
get
cut hours.
clarification then from Becky before we vote on this?
I don't
She
think,
needs it.
That's what
She
we
needs
did
it.
before. We
That's
asked
the
that
one.
question, and I asked her the question, but she said, I can't give you a comparison because we've approved it in the past. So I can't say what it is, but what I believe, there's, people have all kinds of options for voting. And you can vote in person, you can vote, absentee, you can vote in advance. They can come into the thing, so it's not, they can mail in. But this is assigning somebody to be here to do that. So I agree with Becky, Wes. I think it's okay for the less than handful of people that might come in to not
Yeah.
have somebody
As long
working that.
I'm reading her letter now, and I see what you're saying there, because she writes, we will still have in-person absentee voting at the counter during all business hours, and vote by mail for this election, so I think.
And come in at election day, the
Okay.
old school way of doing it. So I think that's fair, but I understand what you're saying, Wes, about it's important to give people opportunity, but I think we're more than generous as far as giving people different ways to vote.
Well, the other thing is, if I remember right, this doesn't change what we've offered. We've always had certain hours, right? It's not like we're reducing what we've had
Well,
before.
that's how she worded it, we still have.
Right, we still have in
Right.
person, yeah. All right. I don't know, Mike, what were you gonna say?
no, I was gonna say, because my understanding is that it's been approved in the past, so it's not reducing from what the town
It
has
used to.
done in the past.
Right.
But it could be expanded some, you just have to vote,
So Mike, do we have to do this every time there's an election to reduce the hours?
I think so, yeah.
We just can't say this is what we want to do going forward.
Correct.
I guess my feeling is, as long as it's not less than what the town is used to, I'm perfectly fine with this. And it's not the same as what we've done the last several years anyway.
Okay, yep,
So I'm okay with this.
okay.
But
I guess-
let's
Right.
all vote. I move to reduce early voting hours for the 2024 state primary as presented in the select board July 8th, 2024 packet, sorry.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please,
No.
no, I'm sorry, roll call vote, sorry, I'm so tired. Roll call vote, Wes,
Nay.
Bob,
Simple eye.
Priya,
Sundaram, aye.
Dave,
McKenna and I.
and Hilberg, aye. All right, last but not
Oh,
least,
wait,
our
wait,
super
there's
fun. Wait, are we going into executive session tonight?
Wait, no, we have to prove the minutes. No, where are the minutes?
And then afterwards, we're going into about 5 minutes of executive session.
Okay. You like that as a chair? I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember this. It's on the back of the sheet, that's why, that's why. Okay, did everyone have a chance to read the minutes?
I do, and I have one small, very small change.
Sure, what is it?
On my page 3,
Oh, it was all appointments, right?
yeah, it was, it's a very small, it's not even worth mentioning, but I'm just gonna mention. On the action to the fire chief, it says member folks approve, and it should be member folks Move to approve the fire, you're adding the word to, T-O, that's all it is, it's just adding the word to.
Oh, move to approve, yep.
That's it.
Well, I like having the authority to approve it.
Heck yeah.
All right, that's it, that was my only comment.
Anybody else have anything? Thank you for typing that up. That must have been so redundant.
I know, because now Kelly's,
All right.
now Kelly's at it.
I move to approve the regular session minutes of June 24th, 2024 as amended.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Wes?
Folks, aye.
Bob?
Simple, like.
Priya?
Sundaram, aye.
Dave?
Kane and I.
And Hilberg, aye.
This stuff for your signatures.
Okay. All right. Are we ready? I move to enter into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation per MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, regarding 248 Liberty Square Road, and not to convene an open session. Please note the discussion in open session will be detrimental to the litigating position of the town.
Second.
Roll call vote. Wes?
Folks, aye.
Bob?
Simple, like.
Priya?
Sundaram, aye.
Dave?
McKeon and I.
And Hilberg, aye. You made it to the end of the meeting.